Chapter 639. Genius 1 second. Remember, love divided by go divided by little. We provide you with wonderful novels to read. In terms of cultivation and battle strength, one could surpass the opponent. As long as one could crush and kill the opponent, the problem would be solved. However, some problems were not. They were intrinsic. Love go little say netku, for example, sikong chuyu like night sorrow and look down on ji yuhao. This was the fundamental problem. It meant that ji yuhao was not as good as night sorrow. Even if he killed night sorrow, he could not change this fact. This was also the reason why ji yuhao was so depressed. Bitch. After a while, ji yuhao kicked the maidservant away and went back to his cultivation. He couldn't kill Yi Shang now, so he had to improve his power. Night Sorrow and the other two strolled around the mansion. Night Sorrow also casually set up some formations. We will stay here in the future. The scenery is good, and it is not noisy. It is also convenient for us to travel, said Yang Lei. Okay, if you like it here, then it is here. I have no objections, said Night Sorrow with a smile. He really did not care about these things. After familiarizing himself with the mansion, Night Sorrow took the two girls to the place where the god-slaying squad rested and cultivated. Captain, we will stay here in the future. Everyone likes it here, said Ho Jian, looking at Night Sorrow. It is okay for now. However, when we get married, it will not be suitable for us to live together. I think we can build many villas on the slope of the mountain. When the time comes, whoever gets married, let me know. I will arrange for the villas to be built, said Night Sorrow after thinking for a while. Everyone was very happy with Yi Shang's words. Currently, everyone's living conditions were very good, but if they wanted to start a family, it would be a little lacking. After all, they couldn't be a family and cultivate and train together with the other brothers. After checking everyone's situation, Night Sorrow went to Yiling Lan's place. Yiling Lan's place was in the canyon, a pavilion built not far from the teleportation formation. Night Sorrow said that he wanted to reserve an area. Alright, that area will be reserved for the young master, Yiling Lan said. After talking with Yiling Lan for a while, Night Sorrow brought the two women back to the mansion. There were also two servants arranged by Yiling Lan in the mansion. They lived in the loft at the side of the mansion. Night Sorrow glanced at Tianyu and Silver Fox and went to cultivate. He planned to study the bloodline energy protection talent. Only then would he be able to use the real space crack. While Night Sorrow was cultivating, the others were also cultivating. With Night Sorrow's control and operation, the bloodline talent energy point under his backbone appeared. Night Sorrow tried to use this energy to create a protective shield around his body. This was rather complicated. After all, it was not the Dantian exerting force. Night Sorrow liked this kind of challenge. Only when there was difficulty could he feel the thrill of overcoming it. After studying until the middle of the night, Night Sorrow finally understood the bloodline energy protection talent. After studying it, Night Sorrow found that the activation of the bloodline energy protection talent was faster than the activation of the true energy protection talent. After all, it was activated directly, unlike the true energy which had to go through the meridians. After studying it, Night Sorrow went to the courtyard to cultivate. During this cultivation, Night Sorrow found a benefit. When his body moved, the spatial resistance was much smaller. His speed increased by 2 levels. The bloodline energy was greatly consumed. Night Sorrow meditated to recover and then continued to cultivate. He only stopped when the sun rose. Night Sorrow was very happy that his speed had increased by 2 levels. The most important point was that the space attribute protection talent had the ability to isolate the spatial turbulence. Night Sorrow was very puzzled about his nothingness attribute. Now, except for suppressing other attributes, he did not find any special ability. This made him feel very helpless. However, he knew that this was only the current state. Since the nothingness attribute was the supreme attribute, it must have some unknown power. It was just that he had not discovered it yet. While Night Sorrow was thinking, Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu came to Night Sorrow's side. 6e. The original debut, what are you thinking about? Why are you so lost in thought? Sikong Chuyu helped Night Sorrow tidy up his robe and said, I'm studying the space crack. I now have a space attribute protection talent. When I enter the venerable realm, I can try to enter the spatial turbulence. Night Sorrow said. After chatting with the two girls for a while and eating breakfast, Night Sorrow strolled around the Sky City. At this time, the mountain peak was undergoing changes. However, some of the good scenery was not destroyed. Even the buildings were built to accommodate the previous scenery. Night Sorrow went to the place where the god-slaying team was and watched them cultivate. Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu also joined the cultivation team. After watching for a while, Night Sorrow went to the side and began to refine elixirs. He had obtained a lot of materials from the recent robberies. After working for 6 or 7 days, Night Sorrow finally turned all the materials into elixirs. Leader, you should be a mobile elixir storage now. We watched you refine elixirs furnace by furnace. Elder Ling Lan bought 3 bottles for you to store elixirs. Shui Ling came to Night Sorrow and said, Ha! I have a lot of materials. Didn't I snatch a storage ring when I was guarding the rear? I don't know what happened to that guy. The storage ring was full of resources. There were many elixir materials and refining materials. Night Sorrow said with a smile. Are you done refining? Yang Lei handed a cup of water to Night Sorrow. Almost. The rest are special materials for refining elixirs. Besides, I don't have enough auxiliary materials. Night Sorrow drank a mouthful of water and said, Young Master, thank you for your hard work. The elixirs you gave us are enough for the Night Moon Dynasty to use for a while. Yi Ling Lan bowed. Night Sorrow smiled and shook his head. Yi Ling Lan had taken away part of the elixirs he refined because the cultivators in the Night Moon Dynasty were having a hard time. Night Sorrow drank his tea while watching the others cultivate. Occasionally, he would give them some pointers. What he taught them were techniques related to exerting energy. There were people who had learned the wave force and vibration force. However, until now, no one could comprehend and master the spiral force. After staying for a while to check on Ma Shizhuang, Tang Tian, and Chu Ning's cultivation, Night Sorrow returned to his mansion. After entering the mansion, Night Sorrow was stunned for a moment because he found that Tianyu was breaking through to the 8th level of the void inquiry stage. The silver fox obediently stood guard at one side. Night Sorrow took out a jar of wine and sat at one side. While drinking, he helped Tianyu stand guard. Actually, there was no need to stand guard. They would not be disturbed at all. Night Sorrow just felt that he should be by Tianyu's side when something happened. At night, Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu came back. Seeing the situation, Yang Lei asked the servants to prepare 2 side dishes. The 3 of them drank wine and accompanied Tianyu to break through. Chapter 640. Genius 1 second. Remember, love divided by go divided by little. We will provide you with interesting novels to read. As soon as the moon rose, Tianyu successfully advanced to the 8th level of the void inquiry stage. Love go little say W. Chu Tianyu, who had successfully advanced to the 8th level, let out a long howl. With a flap of his wings, he soared into the sky. Then, with 2 shuttles, he was already tens of li *, 500 m per li, away from the lake. After a while, Tianyu caught 2 big fishes and threw them in front of Night Sorrow and the other 2. Tianyu wants to thank us for accompanying him. That's why he gave us 2 fishes as a reward. Night Sorrow said. The two women did not know what Tianyu meant. However, Night Sorrow could sense the fluctuation of Tianyu's soul and knew what Tianyu was thinking. After that, Night Sorrow cleaned up the place and grilled the fishes in the courtyard. On the other side, Tianyu brought the silver fox out to play. Tianyu's speed is really fast. He can travel tens of li * 500 m per li, in just 2 shuttles. He can even fight against an early-stage venerable realm expert. Watching Tianyu leave, Sikong Chuyu sighed with emotion. The three of them ate the grilled fishes and drank some tea before going to rest. Night Sorrow did not cultivate mainly because he wanted to relax. For the next few days, Night Sorrow cultivated steadily. He mainly cultivated the innate ability of his bloodline, which was the usage of spatial energy to protect himself. As he became more familiar with the usage of the spatial energy to protect himself, Night Sorrow's speed increased. However, Night Sorrow still felt that it was not enough. Although he had high attributes, he did not discover its power. The spatial attribute was the best attribute to increase speed. However, Night Sorrow's speed still did not increase. After another round of cultivation, Night Sorrow came to the training ground. At this moment, Yunhuang was meditating at a corner of the training ground. Sensing Night Sorrow's arrival, Yunhuang stood up. "How do you feel? Is there an opportunity to break through?" Night Sorrow asked. "No. My realm is still not high enough. According to your method of cultivation, my realm has increased very quickly, but it's still not enough." Yunhuang shook his head. "Ha! Even if my cultivation base reaches a certain level first, I still have to wait. Captain, with your guidance, my cultivation base has risen very quickly. It is basically at the same level as my cultivation base. Once my cultivation base reaches a certain level, my cultivation base will be more or less enough," Ling Long said as she walked over. "Everyone, let's work hard together. By the way, I'll be leaving for a few days later, so you guys take care of the team. Yunhuang, you have a special identity, so you won't be in any danger outside. So, go out and investigate more," Night Sorrow said to Exquisite and Yunhuang. "But, Captain, you have to be careful. You're wanted now. If you go out, you might be in danger. After all, the Jiyu family and the Fu dynasties are all deeply rooted forces. They have a lot of spies," said Exquisite. "This is useful." Night Sorrow took out his Heaven's Fate mask and said with a smile. After communicating with everyone, Night Sorrow did not bring Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu with him. Instead, he brought Tianyu and Silver Fox to the teleportation array and started the teleportation. When they arrived at the mansion in Taiqing Domain, Night Sorrow put on the mask and walked towards the Tianji Tower branch. He wanted to teleport to the Tianji Tower base and ask the higher-ups of Tianji Tower if they had any space attribute movement techniques. He wanted to strengthen his weakness of being slow. Because of his slow speed, it was useless even if he was stronger than others. The streets of Taiqing Domain were filled with cultivators. However, when they saw Night Sorrow, they all made way. It was not because of Night Sorrow's status, but because of the power of the mask on his face. When they arrived at the Tianji Tower branch, Night Sorrow took out the token and showed it to the members guarding the teleportation array. Then, he was directly teleported to the first base of Tianji Tower. After passing through layers of checkpoints, Night Sorrow arrived at the underground hall of the first base of Tianji Tower. AI go shao shua 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 w, AI chuex. Come in the hall, Night Sorrow saw Lin Yuandao and Guo Shao. Then, Night Sorrow took off his mask and cupped his hands in greeting. "Kid, you're in the limelight now. You're wanted by several major forces. You're really amazing," Guo Shao said with a smile. "Has Director Guo recovered?" Night Sorrow asked. "I've recovered. It's not a big deal. I owe you a big favor, kid," Guo Shao said with some emotion. Is Mistress Wu Kei here? Night Sorrow asked. Then, Lin Yuandao told Night Sorrow that there was nothing else here. Wu Lingfei had returned to Eastern Xian Domain. QSV 1% Hair X, is there something that's troubling you? Lin Yuandao asked. It's like this. After fighting with high-level cultivators, I realized that my speed is my shortcoming. I feel helpless against opponents with high speed, so I want to ask if our Empyrean Terminus Tower has any space attribute movement techniques. Night Sorrow explained his purpose for coming. There are some things that you can tell me in the future. If Mistress Wu Kei can help you, then I can help you too. I'll accompany you to the headquarters Dark Tower to see if there's a suitable movement skill for you, Lin Yuandao said with a sigh. He felt that Night Sorrow still couldn't let go of himself in Tianji Tower. Thank you, Mistress Wu Kei, Night Sorrow said with a bow. Then, Lin Yuandao and Guoxiao asked about Night Moon Dynasty's situation. Night Sorrow didn't hide anything and directly told them about Night Moon's current situation. Mistress Wu Kei, can we open a Tianji Tower branch in Night Moon City? Although the current situation in Night Moon City isn't optimistic, so what? Who would dare to touch our branch there? Guoxiao said. Of course, we don't need to be afraid of anyone. Back then, our Tianji Tower branch was moved back because there was no one there, Lin Yuandao said. Then, Lin Yuandao and Guoxiao discussed the arrangements for the people who would go to Night Moon City. This was because the people who would go to Night Moon City couldn't be recruited from the major forces. They had to be trained by Tianji Tower to keep the secret and not harm Night Moon Dynasty. Teleportation array. We have to set up a teleportation array. Otherwise, it'll be inconvenient, Guoxiao said. I've already set up the teleportation array. The teleportation point here is in my mansion. It's not connected to Tai Ching City's teleportation array. I'm worried that it won't be safe, Night Sorrow said. You're right. How about this? Let's connect the teleportation array in your mansion to the teleportation array in our base. This way, we won't have to check the people from Tianji Tower before they teleport. The people who can be teleported from the base are safe and reliable, Lin Yuandao said after thinking for a moment. Okay, this is a teleportation crystal from my teleportation array. Mistress Wu Kei, please give me the teleportation crystal from the base's teleportation array. I'll go back and set it up, Night Sorrow said. Then, Night Sorrow and Lin Yuandao exchanged the teleportation crystal. Director Gua, after I accompany Night Sorrow to set up the teleportation crystal, I'll take him to Dark Tower. I'll leave the construction of the Tianji Tower branch in Night Moon City to you, Lin Yuandao stood up and said to Guoxiao. Mistress Wu Kei, don't worry. Night Sorrow, you don't have to worry about this. I'll arrange it beautifully, Guoxiao said with a smile. Chapter 641. Genius 1 second. Remember love go/small. We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Lin Yuandao and Night Sorrow then left Night Sorrow's residence. Lin Yuandao wasn't worried that Night Sorrow's teleportation formation would bring danger to Tianji Tower's base. Tianji Tower's first base's teleportation formation was on the ground, some distance away from the core of the base. It was also guarded by experts, so the chances of anyone breaking in were extremely low. Lin Yuandao also didn't believe that anyone would dare to attack Tianji Tower's base. So what if one base was destroyed? Which faction would be able to bear the cost? Night Sorrow and Lin Yuandao took the teleportation formation and returned to Qingtian City's Tianji Tower's secret tower. Night Sorrow then waited while Lin Yuandao went to look for books. Night Sorrow had just sat down when Xiao Longjun appeared in a blue robe. How have you been? Xiao Longjun asked after sitting down. Not bad. I ran into a small problem that Lord K is helping me solve, Night Sorrow said. After I came back, I looked at some of your records. Don't be too estranged from the Empyrean Terminus Tower in the future. To put it bluntly, the Empyrean Terminus Tower is a sect. It's just that its development path is different from other forces. If you can contribute to the Empyrean Terminus Tower, the Empyrean Terminus Tower can contribute to you as well, said Xiaolongjun. Knight Sorrow will remember Senior's teachings. Knight Sorrow cupped his hands. While Knight Sorrow and Xiaolongjun were talking, Lin Yuandao returned. Knight Sorrow, there are books for normal attributes, but there are only books for advanced attributes. There aren't any for space attributes. That's not important. I'll do some research myself, Knight Sorrow said. You need a space attribute movement technique manual? Xiaolongjun asked. Yes. I met some opponents. I could fight them head-on, but I can't stop them if they want to run. My speed is a bit lacking. Knight Sorrow nodded. Actually, there are almost no inheritances for advanced attribute battle skills. In the past few years, very few people have been able to master advanced attribute battle skills, not to mention advanced attribute battle skills. If you can master advanced attribute battle skills, why worry about not being able to create battle skills? This seat will tell you about this seat's understanding of speed and movement. Xiaolongjun waved her hand for Knight Sorrow to sit down and then explained her understanding of speed. According to Xiaolongjun's understanding, the biggest obstacle to increasing speed was air, energy, and so on. If you could overcome these obstacles, your speed would naturally increase. This seat will give you a few examples. A cultivator's speed in the water is definitely not as fast as in the air because of the water's resistance. In addition, why is sword energy and saber light faster than a cultivator's body? That's because sword energy and saber light have a stronger ability to cut and break through obstacles. Xiaolongjun gave two examples to Knight Sorrow when she saw Knight Sorrow's confusion. While Knight Sorrow pondered, Lin Yuandao also listened. There are two fundamental ways to increase speed. One is to cultivate one's realm. When one's realm is high enough, one can control the world's energy and reduce energy obstacles. Not to mention moving quickly, one can even teleport after reaching a certain level. The other is to cultivate one's own technique. By using one's body as a saber and sword, one's speed of breaking through obstacles will increase. Xiaolongjun slowly explained to Knight Sorrow. Many thanks for Senior's explanation. Knight Sorrow now understands. Knight Sorrow exhaled and once again cupped his hands towards Xiaolongjun. It's good that you understand. This is the manual for my movement technique, flickering light passing shadow. It might not be suitable for you, but you can use it as a reference. Xiaolongjun took out a manual and threw it to Yishan. This junior also does not know how to thank senior. Holding the manual, Yishuan lowered his head and pondered. I heard that your wine is not bad. Give me 2 jugs first. Xiaolongjun looked at Knight Sorrow and said. Latest new VG chapter *, section Z, okay. Knight Sorrow took out a jug of 100 herb wine and a jug of azure blood wine and placed them in front of Xiaolongjun. After giving Lin Yuandao a jug of azure blood wine, he opened another jug for himself. Lord K, you are borrowing this seat's light. Xiaolongjun said with a smile. After drinking a jug of wine, Knight Sorrow planned to leave. He planned to make a trip back to Eastern Xian region. You have to be careful when you travel outside. The world is in chaos. Right now, many people want to kill you. You have to wear the Heaven's Fate mask. Lin Yuandao said to Knight Sorrow. Bowing to Lin Yuandao and Xiaolongjun, Knight Sorrow left Dark Tower and set off for Eastern Xian region. With the strategic teleportation array, it wouldn't be troublesome. After a few teleportations, Knight Sorrow arrived at Eastern Xian City. He didn't go anywhere else and directly returned to his mansion and went to the View Tower. Just as Knight Sorrow arrived at the View Tower, Wuling Fei in a white dress came to the hall. Aunt Fei, you are really here. I was afraid that I wouldn't be able to see you. Night Sorrow said with a smile. It's nothing. I will cultivate here. The view tower is also comfortable. Wu Lingfei said with a smile. Then Wu Lingfei asked about Night Sorrow's situation. When chatting with Wu Lingfei, Night Sorrow was the most relaxed and also the most relaxed. He told her about the current situation. City in the sky. This name sounds very comfortable. When I have time, Aunt Fei will also go and take a look. Did you come back for something? Wu Lingfei asked. Medicine Valley is my sect. I haven't been back for a long time. I am going back to take a look and build a teleportation array for them. Night Sorrow said. That's true. Also, you want to rebuild Night Moon City. The main teleportation array of Night Moon City will need a lot of avatars. Take this spatial crystal. It won't be a problem to connect a dozen teleportation arrays. Wu Lingfei took out a teleportation crystal the size of a human head. It's so big. Aunt Fei, where did you get this? Night Sorrow asked with some astonishment. The largest teleportation crystal he used was only the size of 2 fists. It couldn't be compared to the one in front of him. Ha! You are a person with luck. Although Aunt Fei's luck isn't as great as yours, I still have some. I obtained it by chance when I was traveling in the 9 regions. However, don't use this teleportation crystal. After all, Night Moon City is still unstable. If it is attacked, no matter how good the teleportation array you build, it will be useless. It's better to wait until the situation in the Night Moon City stabilizes. Wu Lingfei reminded Night Sorrow. Aunt Fei, don't worry. I understand. When I return from Medicine Valley, will you come with me to Sky City? Night Sorrow invited. Not yet. Eastern Xian region is still too weak. The flames of war have just passed. I am worried that one of them won't be able to swallow their anger and will launch a sneak attack. Wu Lingfei expressed her concern. Then I understand. When our Eastern Xian region is strong enough to crush any force, they won't dare to have such thoughts. Night Sorrow said. You are right. Our Eastern Xian region needs to develop in a direction that others won't even dare to think about. Wu Lingfei nodded at Night Sorrow. Aunt Fei, does our Eastern Xian region have high-level saints? Night Sorrow asked. Chapter 642. A genius remembers love in 1 second. We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Yes. Actually, this situation isn't too bad. As long as our top fighters are strong enough, our Eastern Xian region will be stable no matter how intense the following battles are. Night Sorrow said. That's how it is. Go and do your work. If you have any difficulties, come and find Auntie Fei. Wu Lingfei nodded to Night Sorrow. Nodding at Wu Lingfei again, Night Sorrow steered Tianyu towards the teleportation array. Z starter. After arriving at the teleport formation, Night Sorrow directly teleported to Danding City. Looking at the radiant golden flame palace, Night Sorrow hesitated for a moment before embedding a teleport crystal in the teleport formation. 2 disciples of Medicine Valley who were guarding the teleport formation saw him off respectfully. Night Sorrow then left Danding City on Tianyu. Not long after Night Sorrow left, Yu Yangyu walked out of the Golden Flame Palace. Sect Master. The disciples of the Medicine Valley who were guarding the transmission array bowed to greet him. Who was there just now? Yu Yangyu asked. He had only woken up from his meditative state because he had sensed someone's presence. Vice Valley Master Yi is back. After he placed this here, he left in the direction of Pill Cauldron Mountain. The disciple guarding the teleportation array pointed at the card slot on the teleportation array. Teleportation crystal split. After seeing the transmission crystal, Yu Yangyu was stunned for a moment. Does the Deputy Valley Master have any other instructions? He just hesitated in front of the Golden Flame Palace and didn't say anything else. Love Go Little Sei Ku, the disciple of the Medicine Valley who was guarding the portal, answered. Yu Yangyu's body flashed as he flew towards the Pill Cauldron Mountain. He knew that Night Sorrow had most likely returned to set up a teleportation array. Night Sorrow arrived at Danding Mountain and went to Danding Cliff first. Many disciples on the Danding Cliff were cultivating. After the 8-dragon cauldron was upgraded, it absorbed more energy. Without delaying their own cultivation, the vessel's spirit informed Elder Su, who was guarding the Danding Cliff, to increase the limit of its help and let the Medicine Valley set the rules by themselves. When Night Sorrow arrived, Elder Su was very happy. He pulled Night Sorrow aside and started chatting. After chatting with Elder Su for a while, Night Sorrow flew off the cliff. He did not fly directly to the top of the Danding Cliff, as that would be disrespectful to the 8-dragon cauldron. Seeing Night Sorrow's body rising directly, the disciples of the Medicine Valley who were originally cultivating all stood up. They knew that the pride of the Medicine Valley had appeared, and no one else could step off the cliff like this. Soon, Night Sorrow arrived at the empty space in front of the 8-dragon cauldron. You can just fly over. There's no need to rush up from below. I understand, the artifact spirit of the 8-dragon cauldron said. Well, how have you been? Asked Night Sorrow. Spiritual instruments and sacred instruments can exist independently, but they lack vitality and do not conform to the way of heaven. Now that I have your origin energy, I can make up for the lack of vitality. I can set off to a higher level. In this way, if you need me in the future, I will have the strength to help you, said the 8-dragon cauldron. I owe you. Also, I want to know, if I take you away in the future, can you leave the sub-body here? Asked Night Sorrow, asking the question he wanted to know the most. Yes, if you need me to fight, just come and take me away. There won't be any problem if I leave the sub-body here. Under the influence of the main body, the people of the Medicine Valley can also use the sub-body to fight, said the 8-dragon cauldron. Then I'm relieved. You can stay here in peace. When I'm done here, I'll come and take you away, said Night Sorrow. After communicating with the 8-dragon cauldron for a while, Night Sorrow rode on the Tianyu and flew directly to Danding Peak. In front of Danding Hall, Night Sorrow saw Yu Yangyu, Gong Xian, and Chu Lingxiao. Master, you're not in the Golden Flames Hall, asked Night Sorrow after bowing. I just came back. Did you go to Danding Cliff? Yu Yangyu led them into the hall. Yes, I talked to the 8-dragon cauldron and asked about the specific situation. Night Sorrow told Yu Yangyu about the sub-body of the 8-dragon cauldron. This is great news. It won't affect the Medicine Valley. You don't have to feel pressured, said Yu Yangyu happily. Master, I came back this time to set up a teleportation formation for the Medicine Valley, said Night Sorrow. Hee hee. I'll know when you set up a sub-body on the teleportation formation in Danding City. Yu Yangyu was very happy. No matter where the teleportation formation was set up, it would be of great help to the Medicine Valley. I plan to set up a teleportation formation in the Medicine Valley, just beside Danding Square. It can directly teleport to Danding City. Also, I plan to set up one in Juyuan Town. That's where I grew up. I hope that it can develop. Please understand, Master. Night Sorrow spoke his mind. He felt that it was a little selfish, but there was nothing he could do about it. The reason he left Juyuan village was because he wanted the villagers there to live a good life. This is a good thing. Juyuan town is close to the deep wilderness. It needs to be developed. There are many materials in the deep wilderness. Cultivators need to go there, said Yu Yangyu. Then, Night Sorrow set up a teleportation formation on the side of Danding Square. Gong Xian called for people to protect it. When He Shang set up the teleportation formation in Danding City, he gave the sub-body to Night Sorrow. Now, it was very simple for Night Sorrow to set it up. He set up the sub-body of Danding City's teleportation formation, and the two sides could teleport to each other. "Well, it's done here," said Night Sorrow as he clapped his hands. "I didn't expect Brother Night to be a formation master." Chu Ling Shao was very shocked. "Are you going to Zhuyuan town now?" asked Yu Yangyu. "No, I'm going to see Sixth Sister first. Then, I'll set up the teleportation formation. After that, I'll go back to Taiqing Domain." "Big brother, Sixth Sister is in Qingxin Villa, right?" Night Sorrow asked Gong Xian. "Okay, your world is outside." Yu Yangyu didn't want Night Sorrow to leave so soon. After confirming that Aoi was in Qingxin Villa, Night Sorrow, Yu Yangyu, and Gong Xian went to Qingxin Villa. 13. You're back. Seeing Night Sorrow, Aoi was very happy. She gave Night Sorrow a hug. "I missed Sixth Sister, so I came to see her," said Night Sorrow with a smile. "I didn't dote on you for nothing." "How is Ninth Sister?" asked Aoi. "She's fine. She didn't know I was coming back this time, so she didn't come with me," said Night Sorrow with a smile. "It's good that you guys are fine. Later, Sixth Sister will prepare some food and wine. Then, call the other brothers and sisters over. Let's drink with Master." Aoi was in high spirits. Then, they chatted casually. Night Sorrow's other brothers in Medicine Valley all came. "Senior Sister, why didn't you go to Longquan Villa?" asked Night Sorrow as he looked at Aoi. I stayed on both sides. After all, this is also my home," said Aoi. "The Dragon Spring Courtyard is also Senior Sister's home." Yishang took out the deed to the Dragon Spring Courtyard and handed it to Qingji. Chapter 643. Genius 1 second. Remember love go/little. Shuanet provides you with wonderful novels to read. Of course not. I just don't have much time to live here. It's more suitable to give it to Senior Sister, Night Sorrow said. Senior Sister doesn't want it. Keep it. Aoi waved her hand, refusing to accept the title deed. I'm back. Why don't I just stay at Senior Sister's place? Night Sorrow pulled Aoi's hand and stuffed the title deed into Aoi's hand. Aoi, just keep it. 13 will come back. This time, he came back specifically to build a teleportation formation for the Medicine Valley, Yu Yangyu said with a smile. 13, if you don't go back to the Medicine Valley, then 6th Senior Sister will chase after you. Aoi looked at Night Sorrow and said. 6th Senior Sister, I have something to do. It's not that I don't want to go back to the Medicine Valley, Night Sorrow said with a sigh. Your 6th Senior Sister just doesn't want you to leave. You don't have to care too much about what she said, Yu Yangyu said with a sigh. After drinking, everyone left. Night Sorrow stayed in Qingxin Cottage to rest. Night Sorrow stayed in the bamboo house that Aoi arranged for him. His mind was filled with movement techniques and speed. Night Sorrow didn't know what Xia Longyuan's element was, but the specialty of flickering light and hunting shadow was to change the shape of the energy shield. It was not circular, but elliptical, to reduce resistance as much as possible. Night Sorrow had been experimenting with changing the shape of the energy shield. This was a problem with the technique of using energy to protect the body. For example, the energy shield in front of the chest and back would be elliptical. Night Sorrow remembered the speed of Wu Lingfei's polar moon wheel and decided to follow this path. He developed his energy shield in the direction of full moon / Yishang spent the entire night cultivating the form of his protective qi barrier. After daybreak, he practiced his spear arts for a while. Aoi walked over with a basin. 13, hurry up and wash up. Let's have breakfast. Sixth senior sister, I can do this myself. How could I trouble sixth senior sister? Yishang hurriedly reached for the basin and began to wash up. After eating breakfast, Night Sorrow told him about his plans to go to Zhuyuan town. Sixth senior sister has nothing to do, so I'll go with you. This way, we can have more time to chat, Aoi said to Night Sorrow. Sure. Then sixth senior sister will come with me. Actually, I also want to talk to sixth senior sister. Night Sorrow said happily. Looking at you now, sixth senior sister knows that 13 is still the same 13. You haven't changed at all. Aoi sighed as she looked at Night Sorrow. After that, Night Sorrow brought Aoi and Tianyu to the Pill Cauldron Square. Junior brother Night, junior sister Aoi is here. Chu Lingxiao, who was supervising the construction of the teleportation hall, nodded when he saw the two. Senior brother Chu is here. We'll take the teleportation formation and leave for a while. Night Sorrow saluted Chu Lingxiao. Aoi nodded as well. After Mo Qin and Chu Lingfei got married, Aoi didn't continue to be hostile towards Chu Lingxiao. What happened back then could be considered a misunderstanding. Night Sorrow and Aoi arrived at Pill Cauldron City through the teleportation formation. Night Sorrow placed a teleportation crystal in the slot of the teleportation formation and flew towards Zhuyuan town with Aoi on Tianyu. A few years have passed in the blink of an eye. Sixth senior sister, I still remember the scene when ninth junior sister and I sent you back to Zhuyuan village. It's like yesterday. Aoi was touched as she sat beside Night Sorrow. Sixth senior sister, why don't you come with me? I also have a mansion outside. I plan to live in a place called the City in the Sky. It's very beautiful. Sixth senior sister can refine pills and brew wine there. That way, ninth senior sister and I can see sixth senior sister every day. Yi Shang said. He sincerely hoped that Qing Ji could live a good life and live a peaceful life. Okay. We'll have to wait for sixth senior sister to go back. Shenrong is still young and can't handle things. I'll need your second senior uncle to look after senior sister's disciples. Aoi thought about it and said. Okay, there's no rush. There are teleportation formations everywhere. It won't take long if we want to go there. Night Sorrow was very happy to hear Aoi agree. Tianyu's speed was comparable to a beginner saint. The two quickly arrived at Zhuyuan town. Zhuyuan town was now a real city. Night Sorrow looked at it and felt that the scale of the newly built city had surpassed South Sky City. The city completely connected the area between South Sky Town and Zhuyuan town. The original Zhuyuan town was now a scenic spot outside the city. Riding Tianyu, Night Sorrow landed in front of Papa Gu's bamboo house. Night Sorrow and Aoi got off their mounts. Papa Gu walked in with one hand behind his back. Father. Yishang hurriedly took 2 steps forward and helped Father Gu into the courtyard. You're still so homesick. However, you've become much stronger. A healthy body is very important. Papa Gu looked at Night Sorrow and said. Father, this courtyard is still the same. Yishang said as he reached out to touch the wooden horse that had traces of being burned. Of course. As long as I'm alive, this place will never change. No matter when you come back, it'll always be your home. Papa Gu patted Night Sorrow's shoulder and said. Thank you, Father. Meeting you is my, Night Sorrow's, good fortune. Night Sorrow said with a smile. Come and have some tea. Let's chat while drinking. Aoi said after getting some water to make tea. Father, I'm so happy to see you so energetic. Night Sorrow poured a cup of tea for Papa Gu. Haha, of course. We're all experts in the core condensation stage now. Papa Gu laughed loudly. Then Night Sorrow said that he wanted to invite Papa Gu to live in Dongxian City. It's too far. It's not very convenient. Papa Gu said. Night Sorrow, why don't you just arrange for father and your sworn brother Chin Chin to live in Longquan Courtyard? I don't want to live here. Aoi said. Alright then. Papa Gu, pack up and come with me. We're going to Danding City. Night Sorrow said to Papa Gu. Look at chapter 0 of the original edition. Sigh, I still can't bear to leave. I don't know when I'll be back. Papa Gu said. Papa Gu, you're thinking too much. I'm here to set up a teleportation array. In the future, you can teleport between Danding City and Zhuyuan City as you wish. If you want to come back, it'll only take a moment. Night Sorrow said. He didn't want Papa Gu to feel regret and reluctance. Is that so? That's great. Hearing Night Sorrow's words, Papa Gu became energetic. He really couldn't bear to leave his old neighbors here. Then, under Papa Gu's lead, the three of them went to Zhuyuan City, which was still under construction, and found the person in charge here. When the person in charge saw Night Sorrow, he bowed and greeted. North Pole Peak disciple Zhang Ling greets Vice Valley Master Yi. I'm going to set up a teleportation array here in Zhuyuan City. You'll have to make sure it's safe. Night Sorrow said. Chapter 644. A genius remembers love in 1 second. Shuanet provides you with wonderful novels to read. No one had any objections to Night Sorrow's decision. Zhang Ling knew very well why Zhuyuan City was being built. It was because of Night Sorrow's outstanding contributions to the Medicine Valley. Therefore, the Medicine Valley wanted to build Night Sorrow's hometown. With practice, Night Sorrow set up the teleportation array very quickly. In less than half an hour, it was done. He inserted the last piece of the teleportation array in Danding City. This place must not be damaged. Also, the construction of Zhuyuan City must not interfere with Zhuyuan Town. Night Sorrow instructed Zhang Ling, don't worry, Deputy Valley Master. I will arrange it. Zhang Ling bowed. Then, Night Sorrow and the others left Zhuyuan City and returned to Zhuyuan Town. Night Sorrow, Uncle Nyo, and Aunt Lin drank and ate together. Their old neighbors also came over. Chen Chen also came. They were all rich families in Zhuyuan Town now. They were all very grateful to Night Sorrow for everything he had done for Zhuyuan Town. Then, Papa Goose said that they were going to live in Danding City. This made Uncle Nyo and the others very reluctant. You still don't know, right? Night Sorrow has set up a teleportation array in Bamboo Garden City near our Bamboo Garden Town. With that thing, we can travel thousands or tens of thousands of kilometers in just a few moments. I'll be back when I say I'll be back, said Papa Goo. Hearing Papa Goo's words, everyone felt at ease. This was because Night Sorrow came back because of Papa Goo. If Papa Goo was not in Zhuyuan Town, Night Sorrow might not come back so often. This was everyone's worry. Old Nyo, let me tell you. When I'm not around, you look after my house. If anyone dares to touch a blade of grass or a tree in my yard, I will fight them to the death. Papa Goose said because he did not want Night Sorrow to see the changes in his house. When it was time to rest, Night Sorrow arranged for Aoi to stay in his old room. He chatted with Papa Goo in the room while Chin Chin returned to his attic. They chatted until midnight before Night Sorrow and Old Man Goo went to bed. When he was about to leave the next day, Chin Chin had a different idea. He wanted to develop in Zhuyuan City instead of Danding City. This surprised Night Sorrow, but Old Man Goo was very calm. All right then. If you want to start a business, go ahead. Old Man Goo said. Then, Night Sorrow, Aoi, and Papa Goo arrived at the teleportation array. Many people came to send them off. Waving his hand, the three of them left Bamboo Garden Town for Danding City. Danding City is so prosperous. Bamboo Garden Town can't compare to it at all. The difference is like heaven and earth. Old Man Goose said after exiting the teleportation portal. Dad, why isn't Chin Chin willing to come? Night Sorrow asked. He did not want to be unhappy because of this old man. Sigh. Actually, this isn't something that happened in a day or two. That child is ambitious and doesn't want to be ordinary. Because of the uniqueness of Bamboo Garden Town, the people in Bamboo Garden Town look up to it. He wants to use his connections to develop. He's now a district manager in Bamboo Garden Town. He thinks that I don't know. How can I not know? Old Man Goose sighed. Everyone's choice is different. Then don't force him. It's fine as long as he walks the right path, Night Sorrow said. I don't think he's scheming, but he's ambitious. This is human nature. There's nothing much to say. He hasn't been hanging out with me recently, Old Man Goose said. How can that be? I actually plan to give him some pills and amount so that he can cultivate properly, Night Sorrow said helplessly. Pills. He thinks that you gave him too many pills and kept saying that he wanted to exchange them for spirit stones. I didn't agree. Maybe he's not satisfied. Old Man Goose said. Let's not talk about this anymore. Dad, let's go to the courtyard. Night Sorrow summoned Tianyu and brought Old Man Goo onto Tianyu's back. Aoi released the silver-winged eagle and set off for Longquan Courtyard. When they arrived at Longquan Courtyard, Night Sorrow introduced Old Man Goo to Hai Luo and the others. After knowing Old Man Goo's identity, Hai Luo and the others bowed. They respected Night Sorrow and of course, they would also respect Night Sorrow's family. Dad, you can stay in this mansion in the future. If you're bored, you can go back to Bamboo Garden Town. This storage ring is for you. Night Sorrow took out a storage ring and handed it to Old Man Goo. Storage ring. I know that the senior members of Medicine Valley in our Bamboo Garden City don't have a storage ring. Now that I can use one, it's all thanks to you, Old Man Goose said with a smile. There are resources I've prepared for you inside. In the future, you can cultivate without worry. As for Chin Chen's matter, don't think about it, Night Sorrow said. He was still worried that Old Man Goo would be affected by Chin Chen's matter. We've lived together for more than 10 years. We're the real father and son. He still can't do it. Let's not talk about this. It's nothing. Old Man Goo patted Night Sorrow's shoulder and said. Dad, there are a few more things I want to tell you. First, without your consent, I went to Sikong Chuyu's family to propose. I hope you don't mind. Night Sorrow took the teapot that Hai Luo brought and poured a cup of tea for Old Man Goo. V original 0 0 first 0 0 first 0 0 first 0 0 I'll only be happy about this. As long as you think it's right, as long as you don't do anything immoral, I'll support you. Old Man Goo smiled so widely that he could not close his mouth. What he hoped to see the most was Night Sorrow being successful and Night Sorrow being able to live a happy life. In his heart, Chin Chin and Night Sorrow were completely different. In his heart, Night Sorrow was no different from his son. Chin Chin was much worse. Therefore, even if Chin Chin had walked his own path, he did not have many thoughts about it. The other thing is that I've avenged you. I killed the guy who cut off your arm, Night Sorrow said. Good, you've paid the price for taking my arm. You've done well. I'm happy, Old Man Goose said after taking a sip of tea. After that, Night Sorrow gave Old Man Goo a silver-winged eagle mount. Seeing the 4th rank mount, Old Man Goo was overjoyed and immediately flew 2 circles around it. After chatting for a while and arranging for Old Man Goo to rest, Night Sorrow and Aoi chatted. Old man Gu is very happy. You've done a good job, Aoi said while looking at Night Sorrow. It wasn't easy for a man like him to raise me. In my eyes, he's family. It's just that Chin Chin has disappointed me a little, Night Sorrow said with some emotion. We have to tell eldest senior brother and the others about this. We have to be careful. He can't use your reputation to do anything. People with ambition can do anything. Aoi said. Night Sorrow did not think much of it, but Aoi was worried because the name Night Sorrow was too useful in the Medicine Valley. It could be said that as long as Chin Chin said that he was Night Sorrow's sworn brother, the people in the Medicine Valley would give him face, even if they should not give him face. Okay, I'll go back to the sect with 6th senior sister tomorrow, Night Sorrow said. Chapter 645. Genius 1 second. Remember love go/little. I will provide you with wonderful novels to read. When Night Sorrow was cultivating in the morning, Aoi rode the silver-winged eagle and left the Dragon Spring courtyard. She planned to explain her matters and go to the Tai Ching region with Night Sorrow. When Night Sorrow was cultivating his spear art, Father Gu also came out to watch. He was now a core condensation cultivator and needed to broaden his horizons. After cultivating for a while, Night Sorrow accompanied Father Gu and strolled around the Dragon Spring courtyard. Other than that, they walked around the celestial water lake. Night Sorrow also said that the Dragon Spring courtyard had a calming effect. This is a good place. It's too difficult. Father Gu said with some emotion. Father Gu, you can live here. Although I gave the courtyard to my 6th senior sister, she won't live here. She doesn't have any relatives. Night Sorrow said. Night Sorrow didn't hide some things. Besides, it wasn't a big deal. That girl is very good. It's a pity that you have 2 wives. You have to treat her better. Father Gu looked at Night Sorrow and said. I will. Father, you have a lot of mid-grade spirit stones. If you want to go back to Bamboo Garden Town to drink with your old friends, you can go back and have a look. Besides the teleportation array, you also have the silver-winged eagle. It won't take much time. Live more comfortably. Night Sorrow said to Father Gu. Okay. I'm your father. Now it's the other way around. Love go little say, true Father Gu said with a big smile. In the evening, Aoi came back. 6th senior sister, have you taken care of everything? Yi Shan asked. I told Master, eldest senior brother, and 2nd senior brother. There's no problem. Shenrong isn't young anymore. He can lead the junior brothers and sisters. Aoi nodded. After eating dinner with Father Gu, Hai Luo, and the others, Night Sorrow took Aoi and rode on Tianyu. With Night Sorrow, Aoi didn't need to release her mount. When they arrived at the teleportation array in Danding City, Night Sorrow took Aoi and started teleporting. Night Sorrow had the celestial token, so it was very convenient for him to teleport. In an hour, Night Sorrow and Aoi arrived at the valley where the teleportation array in the sky. After greeting Yiling Lan, Yi Shang brought Qing Ji out of the canyon and arrived at the real city in the sky. So beautiful, this place is really beautiful, that round moon is really bright. When they arrived at the mountain peak where the city in the sky was located, Qing Ji said with some emotion. Today, we can only see the city in the sky under the moonlight. Tomorrow, we will take 6th senior sister to walk around. Yi Shang said with a smile. At the same time, he took Qing Ji to the mansion. Version Chapter H Supra_I. When they arrived at the mansion, they saw Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu who were cultivating sword skills. The two were surprised to see Aoi, but they were very happy. They pulled Aoi to sit down and drink tea. Sixth senior sister, I was worried that you would be lonely in Qingshin Villa. Now, I'm not afraid anymore. We can chat and drink tea together every day. Yang Lei said happily. Yes, I missed you guys too, so I came. It's good that I didn't disturb you guys. Aoi smiled. Sixth senior sister, don't say that. I've been looking forward to sixth senior sister's arrival, but I couldn't say it. But 13 has more face. Yang Lei patted Night Sorrow's shoulder. Then, Night Sorrow arranged for Aoi to live in a single pavilion not far from the mansion's main building. Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu accompanied Aoi to look at the new residence. Night Sorrow began cultivating in the courtyard in front of the main building. He mainly cultivated the variant flickering light passing shadow that he had developed himself. Night Sorrow's speed was extremely fast under the protection of the special space attribute Air Shield. He was like a shadow under the moonlight. Space resistance was the least effective against space attributes. Plus, Night Sorrow used his body as a blade and had a strong ability to break through space resistance, so his speed increased a lot. Night Sorrow estimated that he was at least twice as fast as before. Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu knew that Aoi was tired from traveling through the teleportation formation, so they told Aoi to rest early. When they came back, they saw Night Sorrow's speed. At this moment, Night Sorrow's speed was extremely terrifying and flexible. Night Sorrow cultivated for a while and stopped. Night Sorrow, what special technique did you obtain this time? Yang Lei looked at Night Sorrow and asked. Yes, it's a flickering light passing shadow. It's the movement technique manual of the Tianji Tower's Grand Elder. Night Sorrow took out the flickering light passing shadow and handed it to the two girls. Can we read it too? Sikong Chuyu asked. I think so. Since she gave it to me, she shouldn't be afraid of it. You guys should take a look. I think it's very effective. Night Sorrow said. Night Sorrow handed the flickering light passing shadow book to the two girls to study and continued cultivating. He didn't just want to make up for his weakness in speed, he wanted to make speed his strength. Night Sorrow cultivated until the moon rose in the sky. Only then did he and the two girls go to rest. After dawn, Night Sorrow continued to cultivate his spear techniques. It was a combination of spear techniques and movement techniques, integrating movement techniques into combat techniques. If his cultivation was lower, I'm afraid he would be killed instantly. Yang Lei said with some emotion as she watched Night Sorrow cultivate. I can't even see his movements clearly now. He's also a noob who can be killed in one shot. Aoi said with a smile. Sixth senior sister, don't say that. You don't like to fight. Everyone knows that. Yang Lei poured a glass of water for Aoi and said. But I'm also paying attention to cultivation now. My fellow disciples are all cultivating at full speed. I can't be the most useless one. Aoi said. Sixth senior sister wants to improve her combat strength. Let me know if you need anything. Night Sorrow said. Of course, I won't be courteous to you and ninth junior sister. Aoi said. After chatting for a while, Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu went to the training ground of the god-slaying team to cultivate with the others. Aoi and Night Sorrow also went to watch. After watching for a while, Aoi sighed with emotion. 13, your team is so strong. It's really hard to imagine. Sixth senior sister, actually, the mentality of inaction is very good. You can cultivate slowly and strengthen your combat techniques. Night Sorrow said with a smile. Yes. Actually, sixth senior sister's cultivation base is still very high. You have already achieved the unity of body and Tao. It's just that your cultivation base is a little low. Aoi said with a smile. Sixth senior sister is mighty. You should know that many peak void inquiry stage experts can't achieve this. When your cultivation base improves, you will naturally enter the venerable realm. Night Sorrow was very shocked. He did not expect that Aoi's cultivation base would be so high. The unity of body and Tao was higher than the unity of man and sword but lower than the unity of heaven and man. After that, Night Sorrow gave Qin Jin, Ma Zhuang, Tang Tian and Chu Ning some pointers in their cultivation. Even though the four of them had low cultivation bases, their combat power was already very strong. They were definitely much stronger than other cultivators at the same level as them. Night Sorrow wanted to bring Aoi around. However, Aoi wanted to stay behind and watch them. She wanted to learn from the cultivation methods of the God-slaying team. If it were other people, the members of the God-slaying team would feel awkward. However, Aoi did not feel that way because they knew that Aoi was the most respected senior sister of Night Sorrow and Yang Lei. Yi Shang brought Tian Yu down from the peak of the mountain and went to the edge of the lake to practice his movement technique. Yi Shang had a lot of energy in his heart. Ji Yuhao, didn't you control the time element? Didn't you have fast speed? Then let's see who is faster and who is stronger. Chapter 646. Genius 1 second. Remember love go/little. We provide you with interesting novels to read. Night Sorrow cultivated while Tianyu and Silver Fox played on the side. Now that he had speed, Night Sorrow practiced his agility. He learned from Wuling Fei's extreme moon wheel. The extreme moon wheel revolved around Wuling Fei, so he could cut in whichever direction he wanted. Night Sorrow controlled his energy shield, which was similar to the extreme moon wheel, to rotate. The sharpest side of the energy shield would point in whichever direction he wanted to attack. Night Sorrow forgot about the time when he cultivated. Even at night, he cultivated under the moonlight. Rebuilding the Night Moon dynasty was his motivation. Taking care of the other dynasties and Ji Yu's family was his desire. While Night Sorrow was cultivating, on an island in the sea, a group of men in black reported the current situation to a man in a purple robe. You're saying that the young man with the surname Yi is the son of Prince Wuyo under Prince Ling Huan. The man in the purple robe reached out and grabbed the man in black who was reporting to him. He looked excited. Yes, I've been to Night Moon City and stayed there for a few days. The Night Moon City has regained its popularity and a teleportation formation has been set up. Night Moon City, Wuyo City, and Wuimo City have all started to rebuild. All the resources were provided by this young man called Night Sorrow, the man in black said nervously. Who's in charge of Night Moon City? The man in the purple robe threw the man in black aside and asked. Yi Linglan and Yi Lingyuan. They're currently elders and are in charge of Night Moon City. They listened to young Master Night Sorrow's orders, the man in black said. I don't need you to investigate Night Moon Dynasty anymore. Go to the other dynasties and find out what they're doing. If this king isn't here, put the news in the cave. The man in purple robe pointed at the cave behind him and left the island in a flash. Cousin Wu Yun, now that Night Moon is being rebuilt, doesn't that mean we're not far from fighting back? The man in black who was caught by the man in purple robe asked. Wu Kei, the higher-ups have their own plans. The rebuilding of Night Moon might be a good thing or a bad thing. If it's good, Night Moon is starting to recover. If it's bad, it might mess up the plan. We'll follow 6th King's orders, the man called Wu Yun said. 9 Yong Hgo unspecified currency I waifu look at little and soon, the group of men in black disappeared into the night. Yi Lingyuan sat in the City Lord Manor and looked at the reports from Night Moon City, Worry-Free City, and Void Ink City. He calculated the cost of rebuilding the city and planned the allocation of resources. Love Go Little Say Chu he did not lack resources now, but he had to use them sparingly. He understood that even if Night Sorrow had resources, they were not easy to come by. Suddenly, Yi Lingyuan stood up because a man in purple robe appeared in front of him. Sixth King. Is it really you, Sixth King? Yi Lingyuan was excited. That's right, it's this king. This king knows you. Back then, you were the captain of a law enforcement team in Night Moon City. The man in purple robe nodded. Subordinate Yi Lingyuan greets Sixth King. Yi Lingyuan bowed. This king knows a little about Night Moon, but he's not very clear. Now, tell this king everything in detail. The man in purple robe walked to the main seat and sat down. Following that, Yi Lingyuan recounted everything he had learned since his return. He spoke in great detail, mainly about Yi Shan's situation. He's able to use spatial rend without entering the venerable realm. There's no doubt that he's Night Moon's direct descendant. However, is the identity of Young Master suitable? You should know what Young Master means to Night Moon Dynasty. In Night Moon Dynasty, there are only two people who can be called Young Master, said the man in purple robe. He has the Worry-Free City's token on him, and there's also a birthmark on his back. Back then, this subordinate saw the birthmark on young Mistress Yi Xiaoxiao's back. This subordinate is willing to swear on the honor of the Yi clan. Then that's it. If he's Wuyo's nephew's child, then he's Night Moon's Young Master. The man in purple robe clenched his right fist. Sixth King shouldn't be suspicious. If he's not from Night Moon, he wouldn't be willing to pay so much for Night Moon, said Yi Lingyuan. I'm not suspicious. This king wants to be sure because he's this king's grandnephew. He's Night Moon's future, said the man in purple robe excitedly. His name was Yi Lingxie, and he was Yi Linghuan's cousin. He was a famous king in Night Moon Dynasty and had a very high status in Night Moon Dynasty. Even though Yi Linglan and Yi Lingyuan had entered the venerable realm and obtained titles, their status and combat strength were still far from his. Young Master should be in the city in the sky. Sixth King, you can go take a look. We have a teleportation formation here that leads to the city in the sky, said Yi Lingyuan. Yi Lingyuan said. He wanted Yi Lingxie to meet Yi Shang. If Yi Lingxie confirmed it, then Yi Shang's position as the young lord would be confirmed. Where is the city in the sky? Asked Yi Lingxie with a frown. It's the transfer station between Night Moon City and Taiching City's teleportation formation. Because Yueshang City was unwilling to get involved in this, Young Master had no choice but to find another place to build a teleportation formation. The place he found was named the City in the Sky, said Yi Lingyuan. Yueshang City was unwilling to get involved in this. Are they still worthy of being the descendants of the Yi clan? Yi Lingxie waved his hand and struck a large hole in the green stone floor of the city lord's office. Young Master said that Night Moon only had the souls of those who died in battle and no one was left alive. However, he didn't want to force people against their will, so he left Yueshang City and chose the city in the sky. In addition, Tianji Tower opened a branch again. When they cooperated with them, their chief supervisor was very polite and even said that he owed young Master Knight Sorrow a favor, continued Yi Lingyuan. Very good indeed. Night Moon has a successor. Yi Lingxie's eyes were full of light. Young Master's combat strength is astonishing. On Night Moon, he killed the venerables of the Tianfeng dynasty. Recently, he was worried that the other dynasties would pay attention to Night Moon City, so he kept fighting outside. He destroyed the cities of the other dynasties and killed no less than a few venerables. Yi Lingyuan was full of pride when he said this. Accompany this king for a walk on Night Moon City. For so many years, because I was sad and couldn't face the Yi clan members who died in battle, I haven't returned even once. Now, it's time to go and take a look, said Yi Lingxie as he stood up. Then, Yi Lingyuan brought Yi Lingxie to Night Moon City. Yi Lingxie closed his eyes as he looked at the bloodstained monument. His body trembled miserably. The bloodstains on it were left by young Master Knight Sorrow when he killed the venerables of the Tianfeng dynasty. Young master said that he would bring the heads of the other dynasty's core members to pay their respects, said Yilingyuan. Very good. That's Wuyo's battle flag. Let's hang this battle flag first. When the Night Moon dynasty's battle flag is hung up, it's time to counterattack, said Yilingxia as he looked at the battle flag in the damaged hull. Sixth Prince, what's the situation in Night Moon City now? Asked Yilingyuan. How should I put it? Let's go to the city in the sky and meet with the Night Moon's young master. Then, we'll explain the situation, said Yilingxia. Chapter 647. Genius 1 second. Remember love go/little. We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Knight Sorrow was practicing his movement technique by the lakeside. When he felt that he was familiar with it, he rode on Tianyu and returned to Sky City. He had just returned to the mansion and hadn't even had a sip of water. Yilinglan and Yilingyuan brought Yilingxia to the mansion. Knight Sorrow put down the teacup in his hand and looked at Yilingxia. Yilingxia, who was wearing a purple robe and had his hair tied up, had a strong aura. The two of them looked at each other. Yilinglan and Yilingyuan didn't say anything because they couldn't speak. You are Knight Sorrow? Yilingxia asked after a while. I am. May I ask who you are? Knight Sorrow asked after answering. This king is Yilingxia. He used to be called King Ling Xia in Night Moon Dynasty, Yilingxia said. Young master, we know this person. He is King Ling Xia of Night Moon Dynasty, Yilinglan said. Knight Sorrow cupped his hands. Junior Knight Sorrow greets Senior. It's not appropriate for you to do this now. This isn't something you should do, Yilingxia said. It's not appropriate, it's not something I should do. All right. I won't interfere in Night Moon City's matters anymore. However, I will still interfere in Wuyo City's matters because if I'm not mistaken, that's where my parents live, Knight Sorrow said after letting out a sigh. 13. Just do your own thing. Yang Lei looked at Yilingxia a little angrily. It's good for young people to be hot-blooded, but you have to wait for this king to finish speaking. Yilingxia's mouth twitched. Senior, please speak. Knight Sorrow is listening. Knight Sorrow nodded. This king said that it's not appropriate for you to do this because it will drag you into the heart of the struggle and create a great danger for yourself. Others can do these things. There's no need for a young lord like you to fight in the heartlands of several great dynasties every day. This is not something a young lord like Night Moon should do. Yilingxia smiled bitterly. He didn't think that his half-spoken words would cause Knight Sorrow to misunderstand. Young master, Prince Ling Xia is your sixth uncle in terms of seniority. He's very close to you. He's also a direct descendant, said Yilinglan. Z-Starter FH, you are Wuyo's nephew's son. This king is his uncle, Yilingxia said as he looked at Knight Sorrow. According to Elder Linglan and Elder Lingyuan, I am Prince Wuyo's son. However, this needs to be confirmed by Prince Wuyo. In addition, I want to know the current situation of Prince Wuyo and young consort Wuyu. Knight Sorrow asked. When he asked the question, Knight Sorrow's hand trembled. He was afraid of hearing bad news. They're both doing well. Nephew Wuyo was heavily injured back then. He should have recovered after these years, Yilingxia said after thinking for a moment. Should. How should it be? Are you not sure? Knight Sorrow asked anxiously. Because this king hasn't seen his clansmen for 20 years. Back then, when they retreated to the Sea of Night Moon, Brother Invincible King swore that no saint of the Night Moon would leave the Sea of Night Moon. This king stayed outside to gather information. He can't enter the sealed area. However, he can still contact Night Moon, said Yilingxia. Then contact them. I want to know their situation. I also want to confirm if I'm their son, said Yiling Xia. His voice was a little choked up. All along, Night Sorrow had been very strong. However, news of his parents was more important than the heavens to him. He couldn't help but be a little emotional. You must be. There are only 2 fifth-generation descendants. The other one is confirmed to be dead. So you must be nephew Wuyo's son. Also, don't you have a birthmark on your shoulder? It's recorded in the genealogy. Show it to this king. This king will notify the Night Moon Sea clan, Yiling Xia said. Night Sorrow nodded and showed his birthmark to Yiling Xia. Fortunately, I have a birthmark. Otherwise, it would be very troublesome. There are other ways to confirm it, but there's no need for that. Your identity is now unmistakable. You can call me Sixth Uncle. Dear Uncle, Yiling Xia said to Night Sorrow. Sixth Uncle. Night Sorrow bowed to Yiling Xia. Good. This king is happy that Night Moon has a successor. Who are these people to you? Introduce them to this king. Yiling Xia looked at Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu and asked. Sixth Uncle, this is Sikong Chuyu from the Sikong clan. She's my fiancée. This is my 9th senior sister. And she's also my fiancée. Night Sorrow introduced Sikong Chuyu and Yang Lei to Yiling Xia. Then this is also my fiancée. Introduce her. Yiling Xia gestured at Aoi with his chin. Sixth Uncle, this is my 6th senior sister. She's not my fiancée, Night Sorrow said embarrassedly. 6th senior sister, it doesn't matter. It's just a matter of time. Come, make a pot of tea. 6th Uncle is happy today. Really happy, Yiling Xia said as he found a place to sit. Senior, Junior Aoi will make tea for you. Don't talk nonsense in the future. Aoi blushed as she made a pot of tea for Yiling Xia. Ha! It's not nonsense. Night Sorrow, don't worry. Later, I'll contact Night Moon in the sea and ask you about your nephew and niece-in-law's situation. You also have to tell the clan about your situation, Yiling Xia said after taking a sip of tea. Night Sorrow only needs to know that my parents are safe, Night Sorrow said. Also, don't mess around anymore. If 6th Uncle finds out about you causing trouble in the other dynasties, it's too risky. It's not a joke. Yiling Xia looked at Night Sorrow and said. In the past, he didn't know and wasn't sure. Now that he was sure, how could he let Night Sorrow take any more risks? I have a plan. I always send people to investigate first. I only make a move when there are no experts I can't contend with, Night Sorrow said with a smile. That's too dangerous. Night Moon will be fine as it is now. 6th Uncle, after contacting the clan, go to the Yun dynasty and try to stabilize the current situation, Yiling Xia said. With Uncle taking charge of the situation, Night Sorrow will be much more relaxed. In the future, I'll only be responsible for fighting, Night Sorrow said. Uncle's seniority is higher than yours, but you are Night Moon's young master. The young master's status is noble. Even Uncle has to listen to the young master's orders. This is the clan's rule, Yiling Xia said. 6th Prince, the 4th generation of Venerables is a prince. What about the 5th generation of Venerables? The young master can kill beginner Venerables as easily as taking something out of his pocket. He won't have been a Venerables for long, Yiling Lan said. You ask this king. How would this king know? Let the clan's emperor discuss it. This king will leave while you guys are chatting. Night Sorrow, wait for this king's news. After taking a sip of tea, Yiling Xia got up and left. He still had a lot of things to do. After confirming Night Sorrow's identity, Yiling Xia had to report to the clan. Before Night Moon's incident, there were only 2 fifth-generation descendants of Night Moon. Even if there were more now, they couldn't compare to Night Sorrow's identity. Night Moon had never been able to use spatial Ren before becoming a Venerables. In addition, Night Sorrow had already changed Night Moon's situation. He had to find a way to stabilize it and assist Night Sorrow in helping Night Moon develop. Back then, Yiling Xia was in charge of Night Moon's external affairs, so he still had some connections. Chapter 648. A Genius Remembers Love in 1 Second. We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Young Lord, the Sixth King is one of Night Moon's most powerful combatants. He's known as the Heretic King Yiling Xia in the Grand Clarity domain. Now that he's back, it won't be a problem unless it's a saint or an invincible venerable. Yiling Lan said excitedly. You're right. Yiling Lan said excitedly. This is a good sign. I wonder what news Sixth Uncle will bring back. Night Sorrow's mind was somewhat unsteady, and he couldn't calm down as he paced back and forth. Night Sorrow, calm down. Didn't Sixth Uncle say that Uncle and Auntie are still alive? They're just injured. It's not a big problem. Yang Lei pulled Night Sorrow to sit down and said. Night Sorrow nodded, took out a jar of wine, and drank 2 mouthfuls. Sikong Chuyu said, the Yi clan is going all out. The day they come out, the battle prowess of a saint with spatial attributes will definitely be astonishing. The Taiching domain will be bathed in blood. Whoever committed the sins back then will have to pay for them. Wait. Night Sorrow, calm down and wait. The Night Sorrow knows about the current situation and should have made some decisions. Aoi looked at Night Sorrow and said. Alright, you two make some side dishes. We want to drink some wine. Yang Lei said to the 2 maidservants. Then, Yang Lei, Sikong Chiyu, and Aoi accompanied Night Sorrow for a drink. Then, Night Sorrow brought Tianyu to the edge of the lake to practice his movement technique. Anyone would be under a lot of pressure. He hasn't felt the warmth of a family for so many years. His parents are just 2 words to him, and they're nothing, Aoi said. Night Sorrow began to cultivate by the lake, fusing his movement technique, spear technique, and palm technique together. Yang Lei and the others didn't disturb Night Sorrow. They knew that Night Sorrow needed some peace and quiet. Every day, Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu would go to the God-slaying squad's training ground to cultivate with the others. The main reason was that they didn't want to leave the squad. Qing Ji also came to cultivate every day. She was motivated by the others, which gave her the motivation to cultivate. Seeing Aoi cultivate in Aoi's realm made Ling Long, Yun Huang and the others very envious. This realm was too rare. Yun Huang was at this realm now, but his mastery wasn't as deep as Aoi, let alone Ling Long. The 2 asked Aoi for advice, but she didn't know what to say. Yang Lei then told them about Aoi's situation. Yun Huang and Ling Long felt helpless because they couldn't learn from Aoi. 9th senior sister, why don't we talk to Captain and let 6th senior sister join our god-slaying squad? Ho Jian said. I can't do that because 6th senior sister almost never participates in any battles. 6th senior sister is a rank 5 cultivator, but you can ask her if she has ever killed a human or even a demonic beast before, Yang Lei said with a smile. 6th senior sister, you've reached rank 5 and haven't killed a human or a demonic beast before. Shuai Ling looked at Aoi in surprise. Other than sparring, I've only fought once. When I was sending 13 home, I met the enemy who killed my 12th junior brother. But she was the one who killed him. Aoi pointed at Yang Lei embarrassedly. Goddess. She's really an otherworldly goddess. I'm really impressed, Ling Long said as she rubbed her forehead. Don't worry, I can help you guys refine pills, brew wine, or something like that, Aoi said with a smile. You guys don't know, but the good wine that Night Sorrow brought out was all brewed by 6th senior sister, Yang Lei said proudly as she pulled Aoi's arm. Translator, Endless Fantasy Translation Editor, Endless Fantasy Translation, 9th senior sister, can 6th senior sister really join our god-slaying squad? Not everyone in the god-slaying squad is a combat member. I really like 6th senior sister, Nan Liu said. You'll have to ask Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow respects 6th senior sister very much and doesn't want 6th senior sister to be wronged. Let's wait for Night Sorrow to come back first, Yang Lei said with a smile. At the mention of Night Sorrow, the others were speechless. Everyone knew that Night Sorrow was currently cultivating by the lake at the foot of Sky City. Half a month later, Yilingxie returned. When he heard that Night Sorrow was cultivating under the lake, he went directly to the lake. At this time, Night Sorrow was using the space attribute to increase his speed and displayed his spear skills. Yilingxie could only see his shadow and hear the sound of air being torn apart. This shocked him, because even supremacies weren't as fast as Night Sorrow. Noticing Yilingxie's arrival, Night Sorrow stopped cultivating. He wiped the sweat from his forehead and walked up to Yilingxie. 6th uncle, is there any news about my parents? There is. It's all good news. Let's go back and talk about it. You've been cultivating for half a month. Don't you know how to take care of yourself? Yilingxie said and flew toward Sky City. Night Sorrow called out to Tianyu and followed closely behind. When Night Sorrow and Yilingxie returned to the mansion, Aoi, Yang Lei, and Sikong Chuyu had already finished brewing tea. Yi Linglan had also come over. Sit down, sit down. Let's talk slowly. Yilingxie waved his hand at Night Sorrow. Then Yilingxie told him about the current situation of Night Moon Sea's Yi clan. Prince Wuyo's injuries had already healed. However, his life source had been damaged in the battle back then. He still had 100 years of lifespan left. In addition, young concubine Wuyo was also doing well. 10 years ago, she had given birth to a daughter named Yin Yanxiao. Hearing the name Yin Yanxiao, Night Sorrow's eyes moistened. He knew that in his parents' hearts, he was Yi Xiaoxiao. It's good that they're safe. As long as they're safe. Night Sorrow muttered softly. However, the family wants us to stabilize the situation first. No saints in the family can leave the Night Moon Sea. In addition, it'll be difficult for them to take revenge. There are some things you might not know. Back then, the Tianfeng dynasty sent out a saint to ambush us. They heavily injured Brother Linghuan and several imperial uncles. After 2 imperial uncles retreated with their clansmen, they died from their injuries. Yilingxie's voice was somewhat low because this was the death of the Night Moon. If no saints come out, how long do we have to wait? Sikong Chuyu was somewhat anxious. If the experts of the Night Moon dynasty didn't come out, Night Sorrow's side would be under a lot of pressure. I'll hold on. As long as I don't fall, I won't let the Night Moon dynasty get hurt again. My parents are fine, and I still have my sister. I can fight without any worries. Night Sorrow exhaled. Calm down. There are many 5th-generation members of the Night Moon dynasty, but they're not direct descendants. If their bloodline isn't pure enough, they won't be able to cultivate the spatial rend. You're the only direct descendant of the Night Moon dynasty's 5th generation, the only young master of the Night Moon dynasty. How can you not pay attention to your own safety? Besides, you still have them. A man must be responsible. Dying is actually easy, but sometimes living is difficult. Didn't I also endure it? Yilingxie slammed the table and said. Thank you for your reminder, uncle. Night Sorrow looked somewhat apologetically at Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu. He knew that his words just now were somewhat irresponsible. Brother Linghuan is already a half-step saint. It's just that he was too heavily injured to recover, so he's only half a step away from becoming a saint. The other imperial uncles and Brother Linghuan are much weaker. Nephew Wu Yu originally also had a chance, but if his body's problem isn't solved, it's all talk. Yi Lingxie sighed. If there's a problem, then solve it. There's nothing impossible. Sikong Chuyu said. Chapter 649. Genius 1 second. Remember love go/little. We provide you with wonderful novels to read. You need resources. That's easy. What do you need? Knight Sorrow asked directly when he heard this topic. Q, head, N, hair, you need treasures to replenish life force. Brother Linghuan, Imperial Uncle Shen Xian, and Imperial Aunt Shen, you all need them. Even Prince Wu Yu needs them. Cultivation resources are also in short supply. Back then, the Knight clan took away most of the resources, but the elders of the clan were reluctant to use them. They used them all to nurture the younger generation of the Knight clan, Yi Lingxie said helplessly. I can solve this problem. There is no better treasure than life spirit fluid and life crystals to replenish life force and repair life source. High-level cultivators use top-grade spirit stones and top-grade spirit stones. I have both, Knight Sorrow said excitedly. To be able to help the Night Moon dynasty, help his ancestors, and heal his father, Knight Sorrow didn't feel bad about the resources. Instead, he was very excited. Everything he had accumulated in the past could finally be put to good use. You really have them. Yi Lingxie was also excited. If Knight Sorrow said these things, then the return of the Night Moon clan would be much earlier. Here are 5 bottles of life spirit liquid. Here are 30 life crystals. Here are 200 top-grade spirit stones. This storage ring is filled with high-grade spirit stones. Yi Shan took out a bunch of resources in one go. The heavens bless the Night Moon. The heavens really bless the Night Moon. I don't need that much. Let me count. There are 30 drops in one bottle. 2 bottles of life spirit fluid should be enough. Yi Lingxie looked at the bottles of life spirit fluid. 6th uncle, don't worry about me. Take enough, Knight Sorrow said. 2 bottles are enough. Since you have life spirit fluid, give nephew Wu Yu a few life crystals. Top-grade spirit stones can only be used by peak venerables, half-saints, and saints. 6th uncle, take half. As for the top-grade spirit stones, 6th uncle, take all the top-grade spirit stones. I still have some. Knight Sorrow interrupted Yi Lingxie's calculations. Good. With these resources, the Night Moon clan will rise without obstacles. Our clan members with old injuries can also recover. Yi Lingxie was excited. His hands trembled as he held the resources. The upper echelons of the Yi clan brought their juniors and retreated to a certain region of Night Moon Sea. After a discussion, they decided to leave the lightly injured Yi Lingxie outside to gather information and gather resources. But after so many years, the resources that Yi Lingxie had gathered were limited. Now that Yi Shang had directly solved the problem, how could he not be excited? Injured. Then I have the medicinal cauldron spirit liquid here. Not only is it effective for healing, but it is also very effective in assisting cultivation. It is even more effective than high-grade spirit stones. Yi Shang took out the wine jug that contained the medicinal cauldron spirit liquid. Controlling his emotions, Yi Lingxie opened the wine jug and glanced inside before looking at Yi Shang. You prodigal child, you actually used a wine jug to store such a precious treasure. Give 6th uncle a third of it. Aoi helped Knight Sorrow fill the cauldron of life spirit fluid and gave it to Yi Lingxie. Knight Sorrow, you've solved the Night Moon clan's problem. Sixth uncle can't thank you because you're the young master of the Night Moon clan. But I'm really excited, Yilingxia said after receiving the resources. Because I'm from the Night Moon clan, I should do this. I look forward to the Night Moon clan's rise, Night Sorrow said. Also, the clan already knows about your situation. They ordered me to take good care of you and stabilize the current situation. I think that nephew Wuyo and niece-in-law should be very happy to hear that you're well. The Night clan is also very happy. The Night clan's direct line of descendants is a big deal. It's always been a worry for everyone. For many years, the Night clan's lack of direct descendants has been a big problem. This time, you should be able to change it, Yilingxia said as he looked at Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu. Uncle, Night Sorrow didn't know what to say. Alright, I have to send these resources back as soon as possible. This is the clan's biggest problem. Once it's solved, we won't have to worry anymore. Yilingxia nodded at Night Sorrow and left. He couldn't wait to shove the resources into the hands of his clansmen. 13. Did you lose a lot of resources this time? Yang Lei asked with a smile. She wanted to change the topic to make Night Sorrow feel more relaxed. No. You all know that I don't use spirit stones for cultivation. It's fine as long as I have enough resources. I can still handle this level of resources. In fact, the only thing useful to me is the life essence. Spirit stones and cauldron spirit elixirs are nothing, Night Sorrow said. Night Sorrow's cultivation could be supported by his soul power, chi, and bloodline talent. The pagoda of time and space could help him. He could still continue. However, the cultivation of the myriad Daos treasured tome was more troublesome. Currently, Night Sorrow was using the black tortoise crystal. This was the 5th stage of the Tao querying realm and the 6th stage of the spirit refinement realm. Night Sorrow had also prepared the resources. The blood tortoise crystal could help, but Night Sorrow had a higher goal. The 7th stage of the myriad Daos treasured tome was not the end. He still had to cultivate after the 7th stage. However, he didn't have any supplementary resources. Night Sorrow was saving the life essence for backup. You're really different. You're ruthless. Yang Lei looked at Night Sorrow and said. I still have what you need. What I have is yours, right? 6th senior sister, if you need anything, just tell me, Night Sorrow said. Sure. You're my junior brother. I won't stand on ceremony with you. Aoi smiled at Night Sorrow. I forgot to ask 6th granduncle to bring some elixirs back, Night Sorrow said. There's no hurry. It won't be too late to give them to 6th granduncle when he comes back, Sikong Chuyu said. Also, with 6th granduncle around, our engagement ceremony can go on. When 6th granduncle comes back and stabilizes things here, I'll tell him to help me make a trip, Night Sorrow said with a smile. That's right. With 6th granduncle and Father Gu, it's totally possible, Yang Lei said. Right now, Yishang's heart was very relaxed because his parents were safe. All that was left was to fight, and the thing that Yishang was least afraid of was fighting. Night Sorrow, you're relaxed now. You have to take care of your body in the future. Don't work so hard. Sikong Chuyu looked at Night Sorrow and said. Seeing Night Sorrow cultivate so hard every day, Sikong Chuyu's heart ached. I know. My cultivation has been rising a little fast recently. I have to stabilize it. If I want to break through to the supremacy realm, I have to stabilize it. Night Sorrow nodded. He did not want to have an unstable foundation. Yes, it's best to stabilize it. A solid foundation will be of great help in the future. Aoi nodded. I'll ask Yin Huang. If there are any suitable cities, we'll go and destroy 2 more. This way, they'll be suspicious and want to defend themselves. They won't care about Night Moon City. Night Sorrow planned to go out and kill. That's fine, but we still have to be stable. The news must be accurate. We can't be tricked, Sikong Chuyu said. Chapter 650. Genius 1 second. Remember love divided by go divided by little. We provide you with wonderful novels to read. That's a good idea. The GU family shouldn't be as vigilant as the other dynasties. The other dynasties have been frightened by us, so their defenses must be tight. On the other hand, the GU family should be more relaxed. Yang Lei agreed with Night Sorrow's opinion. Then, Night Sorrow went to communicate with Yun Huang. Those shameless people. I've scouted a few cities. In the taverns and inns near the city lord's mansion, there are cultivators with cultivation bases that I can't see. If I can't find them, then I must have hit a nail on the head. Yun Huang told him about the recent situation. These days, Yun Huang had been going out to scout, but he couldn't make a move even after scouting many cities. This made him very angry. He was looking forward to fighting, but he couldn't fight in this situation. Then let's change targets. You go scout the cities of the Sky Pillar family in the Sky Pillar region. We can do it there too. Night Sorrow expressed his thoughts. Okay, I'll go scout now. Once I'm done, we'll kill. Yun Huang got up and left. His hands were itching for a fight. After Yun Huang left, Night Sorrow returned to the mansion and chatted with Yang Lei, Sikong Chuyu, and Aoi. Night Sorrow was in high spirits because he knew that his parents were fine. There was no better news than this. As for his father, Yi Wuyo, the source of his body had been damaged, but with treasures like life spirit fluid and life crystals, he could recover. Love go little say W. Chu. While Night Sorrow was happy, Yang Lei and the others were also happy. They all knew that Night Sorrow couldn't let go of his family. Now, the news brought by Yi Lingxia couldn't be any better. In the evening, they drank a little wine together. Then, Night Sorrow went to the lake below the city in the sky to cultivate. Since he did not lack realms, his cultivation would naturally increase. Night Sorrow wanted to increase his combat strength. After cultivating for a while, Night Sorrow had an idea. He wanted to try using the Void Air Shield to replace the Space Air Shield to see how fast it was. Night Sorrow's body began to move as he activated his speed. After flashing around a few times, Night Sorrow discovered a special situation. The space shield could cut through obstacles, but after the nothingness shield changed shape, the sharp nothingness shield's tip was able to melt away some of the obstacles. Dissolve all obstacles. Such an effect shocked Night Sorrow. This ability was heaven-defying. Soon after, Night Sorrow circulated his true chi and poured it into the reincarnation spear. Then, he condensed his true chi into a point and shot it out. After shooting out the spear, Night Sorrow discovered a change. A small empty area appeared in front of the spear tip. Everything was melted away, but the point was very small. This situation made Night Sorrow understand that it wasn't that the nothingness attribute wasn't strong enough, but that his true chi wasn't condensed enough. If he condensed it to the extreme, the melting effect would occur. After understanding the characteristics of the nothingness attribute, Night Sorrow was shocked. This meant that as long as he continued to cultivate, when the quality of his true chi reached a certain limit, he could form a nothingness shield and melt away all attacks that came close. This meant that the attack wouldn't touch his body. After stabilizing his emotions, Night Sorrow continued to cultivate. Although the nothingness attribute was strong, it was still inferior to the space attribute in terms of speed. After all, the space attribute was the strength of speed. After cultivating for 2 days, Night Sorrow felt that his speed and agility were no longer a problem. Then, he returned to his mansion. K.O. New chapter number 1. There were only servants in the mansion. Yang Lei, Sikong Chuyu, and Aoi weren't there. Knight Sorrow smiled and walked towards the god-slaying squad's martial arts field. He guessed that the three of them were there. When he reached the martial arts field, Knight Sorrow saw that everyone was cultivating. Aoi was also cultivating with Ma Shizhuang and the others. Captain is here. Seeing Knight Sorrow arrive, everyone greeted him. Sixth senior sister, you're also cultivating the formation combination? Knight Sorrow asked with a smile. It's quite interesting, so I'm practicing with everyone. Aoi smiled and nodded at Knight Sorrow. Captain, everyone wants to invite sixth senior sister to join our team. Ho Jian and Nan Liue walked over and said. It's not suitable. My sixth senior sister doesn't like to kill or participate in battles. Knight Sorrow shook his head. He didn't want Aoi to do something she didn't like. But cultivators have to fight, Linglong said. Sixth senior sister has me as her junior brother. If she wants to kill someone, I'll do it for her. Knight Sorrow replied without hesitation. Captain, you've misunderstood me. Fighting isn't necessarily about killing people. We also have to fight to protect ourselves. Besides, our god-slaying squad isn't necessarily a combat member. We need people for logistics, planning, and so on. Isn't sixth senior sister good at alchemy? We can't expect you to do alchemy alone, Linglong said. Sixth senior sister, what do you think? After hearing Linglong's words, Knight Sorrow thought for a moment and looked at Aoi. He felt that Linglong's words made sense. Aoi wasn't willing to kill people, but she had to fight. After all, cultivators had to protect themselves. I quite like this squad. If you don't force me to kill people, it's fine. Aoi nodded at Knight Sorrow. All right. Liue, Linglong, you guys make the arrangements. After hearing Aoi's words, Knight Sorrow thought for a moment and made a decision. The members of the god-slaying squad practiced their battle techniques and joint attack formations. Knight Sorrow meditated at the side. In the evening, Knight Sorrow brought Yang Lei, Sikong Chuyu, and Aoi back to the mansion. Sixth senior sister, even if you join the god-slaying squad, just do what you like. If you don't want to fight, then don't fight, Knight Sorrow said to Aoi, who was brewing tea. Sixth senior sister understands. Sixth senior sister is very touched by your words today. With a junior brother like you, sixth senior sister is content. Aoi looked at Knight Sorrow and nodded. What words? Knight Sorrow thought for a moment but couldn't think of anything. It should be. If sixth senior sister wants to kill someone, I'll do it for her, Sikong Chuyu said with a smile. She naturally knew that this sentence had touched Aoi the most. Yes, there is such a sentence. Sixth senior sister is very content. Back then, eldest senior brother caught Chu Lingxiao and taught him a lesson. Eldest senior brother said that if anyone bullied me, he would teach them a lesson. Now, 13th junior brother is even more domineering than eldest senior brother, Aoi said as she wiped the corner of her eyes. Yang Lei patted Aoi's shoulder. They all love sixth senior sister. No one said that to me. Because you can do it. Besides, there are some things that you don't need to say. 13th junior brother will do it for you. Aoi looked at Yang Lei and said with a smile. After a night of cultivation, the few of them once again arrived at the martial arts practice grounds. At this time, Yun Huang had returned. Captain, it's done. I went to Jiyu family's rebuilt Ji Wang city to investigate. I think we can make a move. That's the origin of Jiyu family. If they suffer another heavy blow, they will suffer greatly, Yun Huang said. Chapter 651. Genius 1 second. Remember love divided by go divided by little. We will provide you with interesting novels to read. Knight Sorrow then gathered his men. 6th Senior Sister, you don't have to go. Love go little say, Chew, alright. Aoi nodded. Let's go. Knight Sorrow led the members of the god-slaying team to the teleportation array. After a few teleportations, the group arrived at G Royal City. Knight Sorrow, who had arrived first, killed the guards of the GU family's teleportation array without hesitation. Then, the others teleported over one after another. 2 groups of people will guard the teleportation array. The rest of you, kill behind me. Remember, do not approach the City Lord's mansion without a long whistle. Knight Sorrow rode the Tianyu toward the City Lord's mansion. Everyone, hurry up. Don't be too far away from the captain. Also, don't hesitate to set fire to any new buildings. Burn all the high-rise buildings and extravagant buildings that don't seem to be privately owned. Ho Jian gave the order. Knight Sorrow threw out torches from time to time. As long as there was a building that fired ballistae, Knight Sorrow would throw his torch over. Moments later, Knight Sorrow arrived at the City Lord's mansion. Behind him, flames filled the sky. Damn it, you piece of shit. Someone rushed out of the City Lord's mansion and roared at Knight Sorrow with a face full of anger. He was Jiyu, Yuandang, who had discovered that Knight Sorrow had bought the Saint Crystals in Qingtian City and wanted to kill him. Love go little say, Chu, seeing you, I remember that you wanted to rob me of my treasure last time. Today, I will rob you. Knight Sorrow rushed toward Yuandang in a flash. Seeing Yuandang, Knight Sorrow recalled Yuandang's hateful face. Now that he had the chance, of course, he wanted to kill him. At this moment, Knight Sorrow was moving extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, he was right in front of Ji Yu and Yuandang, thrusting his samsara blade towards Yuandang's throat. Knight Sorrow's speed made Yuandang's expression change drastically. He never thought that Knight Sorrow would be so fast. His venerable binding was completely ineffective, so he could only wave his long sword to defend himself. Ji Yu, who was only a 3rd-grade venerable, was knocked back with a single spear strike. Knight Sorrow unleashed his speed, and the reincarnation spear continuously struck Ji Yu's body. Ji Yu could only passively defend himself, and couldn't even dodge. The battle went on for a while, and no one intervened. Knight Sorrow knew that there were no other experts here. He let out a long whistle and called for the members of the god-slaying team to attack the City Lord mansion. Hearing Knight Sorrow's call, Yun Huang and the others rushed over and started to attack the City Lord mansion. They started to kill and set fire to the City Lord mansion. Ji Yu and Yuandang didn't know what to do. Even if they wanted to dodge Yi Shang and attack the others, they couldn't, because Yi Shang was way too fast. Yi Shang's constantly flashing body blocked Ji Yu's way of retreating and attacking the others. When he felt that it was about time, Knight Sorrow's Shen Qi burst out, and he performed the 7 stars brilliant moon spear art. He even controlled the energy to a single point. Yuandang couldn't dodge, so he could only wave his sword to defend himself. Without making any sound, Yuandang's long sword was broken by Knight Sorrow's spear. This was because this was the melting effect of the void attribute. When Yuandang's Shen Qi was exhausted by the energy of Yuandang's long sword, Knight Sorrow's myriad Dao Book's energy kept up. He continued to move forward and caught up with Yuandang, who was retreating, and directly thrust his spear into Yuandang's chest. As Knight Sorrow's reincarnation spear burst out with the energy of the myriad Dao Book, Yuandang's internal organs and dantian were all shattered. I can't accept this. Looking at Knight Sorrow, Yuandang's eyes were filled with unwillingness. So what if you can't accept this? You wanted to rob me, so you're destined to die. Knight Sorrow pulled out the reincarnation spear, then with a shake of his hand, he cut off Yuandang's finger that was wearing the storage ring, and took the storage ring in his hand. At this time, the other members of the god-slaying team quickly killed all the guards of the city lord mansion, emptied the warehouse, and set fire to it. Next stop, Ji-Yu's ancestral land. Continue to kill along the way. Knight Sorrow gave the order to the group of people. What happened next was even smoother. There was only one venerable in Ji-Yu's ancestral land, whose cultivation level was lower than Yuandang's. Naturally, he was killed by Knight Sorrow. Then, the group of people emptied the newly sent resources of Ji-Yu's ancestral land, and set fire to the newly rebuilt ancestral land. This time, they were even more ruthless. They directly burned down all the gardens and buildings of Ji-Yu's ancestral land. Ho Jian, Xueling, Yunhuang, you guys lead the team back. I'll dismantle the teleportation formation and cover the rear. After returning to the teleportation formation, Knight Sorrow gave the order. Captain, you don't need me anymore. Ho Qingjie looked at Knight Sorrow and asked. There's nothing else to do. I'll ride the Tianyu very quickly, so I'll be back soon. You guys can go now. Knight Sorrow waved his hand at the group of people. After watching them teleport away, Knight Sorrow looked at Ji Royal City, which was covered in flames. Knight Sorrow knew that Ji Royal City was completely destroyed. It was useless for Ji-Yu's family to rebuild it. This was because no one was willing to come here. It was easy to be caught in the flames of war. Not to mention outsiders, even the members of Ji-Yu's family would reject Ji Royal City. After watching the members of the god-slaying team teleport away, Knight Sorrow dismantled the teleportation formation. Then, he rode the Tianyu and left as well. He flew toward the nearest strategic teleportation formation in Tianji Tower. If the others stayed behind to cover the rear, they could only use the traditional teleportation formation. However, Knight Sorrow was different. He could use the Tianji Tower's strategic teleportation formation, which would save him a lot of time compared to the others. 2 days later, Knight Sorrow arrived at the nearest strategic teleportation formation in Tianji Tower. He teleported to the Taiching region base in Tianji Tower and then returned to the city in the sky. When Knight Sorrow arrived at the martial arts practice field, the other members were cultivating. They were not worried about Knight Sorrow. After all, if they were not particularly powerful venerables, they would not be able to threaten Knight Sorrow's safety. You're really fast, Ling Long glanced at Knight Sorrow and said. She guessed that Knight Sorrow had used the strategic teleportation formation to return. Did anyone get hurt? Knight Sorrow asked. No, not even minor injuries. Moreover, we seized a lot of resources. Here are the alchemy materials. Nan Liyue took out a storage ring. Give the materials to 6th senior sister in the future. 6th senior sister, you can refine them when you're free. Call me if you're too busy. Knight Sorrow looked at Aoi and said. He wanted to find something for Aoi to do so that she could have a sense of belonging in the team. This would also allow everyone to recognize Aoi more. Okay, I'll do it then. Aoi nodded. Of course, she understood Knight Sorrow's intention. I have to refine pills too. I have to prepare some resources for Night Moon, Knight Sorrow said with a smile. He had obtained a lot of resources from Ji-Yu and Yuan Dang's storage ring. Ji-Yu's family did not expect Ji Royal City to suffer a second blow, so they invested a lot in rebuilding it. All the resources were in Ji-Yu and Yuan Dang's hands. Of course, they now belonged to Knight Sorrow. Then, Knight Sorrow went to a corner of the martial arts practice field and started refining pills. He wanted to turn all the materials he could refine into pills. This way, it would be easier to categorize them and he could use them whenever he wanted. Before leaving after refining for a day, Knight Sorrow threw a few more storage rings to Nan Liyue. Everyone, if you don't have a storage ring, just give it to them. If you don't get one, don't worry. Everyone will have one. Captain is so domineering. Following Captain is like living a good life, Ho Jian said with a smile. Chapter 652. Genius 1 second. Remember love go divided by Shao. We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Night sorrow cultivated peacefully. Yun Huang would sometimes go out to investigate if there were any suitable cities to attack. He was now addicted to robbing. Baidu search AI go female sign Shao say www.aichuxs. Xiaom on this day, Night Sorrow had just arrived at the martial arts arena when Yun Huang returned. Captain, it's getting lively now. Jiyu's family is looking for you all over the world. The price for your arrest is the same as the other dynasties. Whatever. There's no difference between being wanted by one family and being wanted by several. Who knows who will feel the pain and who will feel the pain? Night Sorrow didn't care about this. However, almost all the cities of the major factions are guarded by mid-level venerables and above. It'll be very difficult to break in easily. Yun Huang sighed. It doesn't matter. We don't have a time limit. We can fight whenever we want. If they have the ability, they can keep watching. Now that mid-level venerables are watching, when we become venerables, we'll let their high-level venerables watch. Let's see if they can defend. Night Sorrow smiled. Knowing that his parents were fine, Night Sorrow's mentality had some invisible changes. He became much calmer and more cheerful. Yes, Captain is right. Let them watch. As long as they can't, we'll go and hurt them. Ling Long clapped. You're not like a woman at all. Yun Huang muttered. Actually, I'm very feminine, but not to you or the enemy. Do you understand? Ling Long glanced at Yun Huang with disdain. While watching everyone cultivate, Night Sorrow sorted out his medicinal pills and gave Nan Liyue a few bottles of clear void pills. As for void pills, the god-slaying squad had enough in stock. Night Sorrow had just brought the girls back to the mansion when Yilingxia arrived. Night Sorrow personally brewed a pot of tea for Yilingxia. Sixth uncle, do you have any good news? It's all good news. The family has said that the date of your return will be brought forward by a large margin. Your parents have also urged this king to take good care of you. Ling Huan, Brother Wang has also sent word that you're not allowed to mess around. If you have the time, do research on a few direct descendants. After Yilingxia finished speaking, he laughed to himself. I'm going to fight on the night moon, not give birth on the night moon. Night Sorrow was speechless. He didn't know why his family would issue such an order. You have to understand. They are afraid. You are Night Moon's only direct descendant of the 5th generation. Your descendants are Night Moon's direct descendants. How could the elders of the clan not be worried? Said Yilingxia. I don't know how the direct descendants are divided. Could it be that I'm the only direct descendant of Night Moon's 5th generation? Night Sorrow said. It depends on your talent. You have to be able to use the true spatial rend. However, there aren't many Night Moon's direct descendants. Even the Emperor can do it, but the Prince's generation is far from it. The Prince's generation, which is the 4th generation, only has 2 people. Your father, Prince Wuyo, can do it. The other is Prince Wumo, who can barely do it. Prince Wumo used a secret technique to raise his power. What's the current status of your bloodline talent? After explaining the situation, Yilingxia looked at Night Sorrow and asked. Speaking of this, I really need to discuss it with 6th uncle. All this time, my spatial rend was taught by Aunt Fei. It might be different from Night Moon's spatial rend. As for my bloodline talent, I've already activated the 5th one. The sixth one is even more difficult. It will take a long time. As for how long it will take, I can't say, said Night Sorrow. What did you say? Yilingxia stood up, his eyes filled with shock. Sixth uncle, is there something wrong with what I said? My Aunt Faye is Lord Golden Phoenix. She knows people from Night Moon, so she knows a little about spatial rend. Is there anything wrong with that? Night Sorrow also stood up. Not that. You're saying that your sixth bloodline talent hasn't been activated. That's it. Say it again. Yilingxia shook his head, his eyes fixed on Night Sorrow. It's very difficult to activate the sixth bloodline talent. Does the family have a secret technique for this? Asked Night Sorrow. In the family, other than the Moon Empress, the other direct descendants only have 5 bloodline talent points. Even Brother Linghuan only has 5.5. If you ask this king how to activate the 6th bloodline talent point, how will this king answer you? Yilingxia sat down, but his eyes were still fixed on Night Sorrow. Then after the 6th, I'll figure it out myself. Night Sorrow was just asking. He didn't hold much hope. After the 6th. You mean there's more? Yilingxia's teacup trembled, spilling tea all over himself, but he didn't notice. Beneath my dragon bones, there are 7 bloodline talent points. But activating them is very difficult. Right now, I'm just in a natural state of cultivation. Night Sorrow nodded. Yilingxia stood up, his hands gripping Night Sorrow's arms. The Moon Empress only has 6 bloodline talent points, but you actually have 7. This is incredible. We have to inform the family. We have to inform the family. Also, this is something that only the few of us know about. Even if you beat us to death, we can't tell anyone else. This is a matter of life and death. The Moon Empress only has 6 bloodline talent points. Night Sorrow was shocked. He didn't understand what was going on. Let Granduncle check and confirm. Then report to the family. This is going to turn the heavens upside down. Yilingxia was a peak venerable, but he still couldn't control his emotions. Then, Yilingxia used his bloodline talent to sense Night Sorrow's bloodline talent points. Then he nodded. Remember, you can't tell anyone else about this. With that, Yilingxia left. He had to tell the family about this. It seems my situation is different from the other members of the family. Night Sorrow thought for a moment. You're more talented than the Moon Empress. This is an incredible matter. Yang Lei nodded. 13th junior brother, it's best to keep this a secret. Otherwise, the enemy will do anything to deal with you. Aoi was a bit worried. 6th senior sister, 9th senior sister, I want to ask you something. The Night Moon dynasty has ruled the Grand Clarity domain for a long time. Why is it only the 5th generation? Night Sorrow asked, puzzled. One you more. New, the hashtag fastest beyond E, that's not how it's calculated. Some sects and forces count the generations according to their most outstanding members. The Moon Emperor is the most outstanding, so his children are naturally the 2nd generation. They have nothing to do with the previous generation. Of course, such iconic figures have to be outstanding. Other sects and forces count the living members as the 1st generation. In short, it's not the same. Sikong Chuyu explained to Yishang. I understand now. Right now, we have to work hard to increase our strength. The most important thing is to turn potential into strength. Night Sorrow nodded. Chapter 653. Genius remembers love in 1 second/small. We provide you with wonderful novels to read. In the mansion of Jiyu family in Qingtian City, Jiyu Haitian was so angry that he smashed the main hall of the family. he simply couldn't control his anger. Ji Royal City was destroyed once again, completely destroyed. There was no need to rebuild it. The cost of rebuilding it was even more expensive than building a new city. However, this wasn't what made Ji Yuhaitian angry the most. What made him most angry was that Ji Fenglan had disappeared. He had asked around and found out that Ji family had exchanged for the spirit fluid of life. However, Ji Fenglan didn't give it to him and directly disappeared with all the resources and space crystals stored in the family. How could Ji Yuhaitian not understand such a situation? He knew that Ji Fenglan wanted him to recover and rise again, which made him very angry. Therefore, he directly sent people to do the task. He must exchange for the spirit fluid of life and space crystals. In addition, Ji Yuhaitian also searched everywhere for Ji Fenglan. However, he couldn't find him for a while and gave up. If Ji Fenglan deliberately hid, he wouldn't be able to find him. In an inconspicuous mansion in a small city located in Qingtian realm, Ji Yuhao had been cultivating himself with great effort. He was brought here by Ji Fenglan. Ji Fenglan didn't want the turmoil in the family to affect Ji Yuhao. Ji Yuhao already knew that Ji Royal City was destroyed by Night Sorrow and the others, which made him very angry. However, with Ji Fenglan's order, he didn't dare to go out. Helplessly, Ji Yuhao turned his anger into the motivation for his cultivation. Night Sorrow worked hard to improve his cultivation base. When he was tired, he would go to the god-slaying team to chat with them, drink tea, or go to the lake to cultivate. Night Sorrow also cut down a big tree and built a small boat. When he wasn't cultivating, he would go to the boat and let it drift, while he brewed tea and watched the scenery. Night Moon was safe and sound at the moment. His family was safe and sound, so he had nothing to worry about. If there were any hidden worries, he was worried about Tai Chuan of the Medicine Valley. However, he could only wait until he became a venerable before going there. Yiling Lan knew that Night Sorrow liked to sail a boat on the lake, so he found a craftsman to build a simple yet stylish wooden boat for Night Sorrow. There was a room at one end and a tea table and rocking chair at the other end. It was very well made for Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow didn't reject it. Anyway, it was already done, and it wasn't hard. He could just use it. Yang Lei, Aoi, and Sikong Chuyu would accompany Night Sorrow to drink tea and chat when they were not cultivating. Only tea version, it/all am is %8 pirate tea version +4 because he had the small boat to rest, drink tea, and meditate. Night Sorrow didn't have much time to return to the mansion. When Night Sorrow finished cultivating again, Yilingxia came. "Sixth uncle, come and have some tea." Night Sorrow waved at Yilingxia. After sitting down, Yilingxia said to Night Sorrow, "There's some good news. Prince Wuyo used the life spirit fluid and his body is fine. Also, Brother Ling Huan's old injuries have completely healed. He's gone into seclusion to make the final push." "That's great. I don't have anything to worry about," Night Sorrow said happily. "The emperors and Brother Ling Huan have given orders to you again. This king is to make sure you don't mess around." Haha. Yilingxia was also very happy. "That's good. The ancestors of the family are Night Moon's foundation. Since they're fine, everything else is easy to handle," Night Sorrow said with a smile. "Yes, that's why Sixth Uncle is also happy. Also, Sixth Uncle has communicated with the Yun Dynasty and passed Brother Ling Huan's letter to the Yun Dynasty monarch. They will do their best to help us stabilize the situation. Later, Sixth Uncle will go and make other connections to stabilize the situation completely," Yilingxia said. "Sixth Uncle, I still have something I need your help with. I've proposed marriage to the Sikong family, but without the elders of the family present, the engagement ceremony can't go on. If Uncle feels that it's okay and feels that you can make an appearance, then I'll go and call for Father Gu, who raised me." With the two of you present, the engagement ceremony can go on, Yishang said. Okay, that's great. Do this immediately. Otherwise, if you have a child first, it'll be bad for your reputation. As long as you're engaged, having a child will be justified. When do you leave? After hearing Night Sorrow's words, Yilingxie became excited. He was very concerned about whether or not Night Moon's direct descendants would have any descendants. I'm going back to the Eastern Profound Domain to pick up Father Gu who raised me. I'll go to the Medicine Valley of the Eastern Profound Domain first to hold the engagement ceremony. Ninth's senior sister hasn't held an engagement ceremony yet, Night Sorrow said after thinking for a while. We'll do as you say. Also, sixth uncle wants to meet Golden Phoenix. We still have some friendship in the past. Sixth uncle also contributed to the matter of the first base in the Empyrean Tower. Sixth uncle also has some acquaintances in the Empyrean Tower. He also needs to communicate with them, Yilingxie said. Then we'll set off immediately, Night Sorrow said. Yilingxie wasn't a sloppy person. He directly returned to the mansion with Night Sorrow and communicated with the women. Aoi also had to attend Night Sorrow's engagement ceremony because she was his junior brother and his junior sister. They were both the most important family members. After informing the others, Night Sorrow, Yang Lei, and Sikong Chuyu put on their masks while Aoi and Yilingxie put on their veils. The group took the teleportation array and left Sky City. If it weren't for Yilingxie, Night Sorrow would have taken everyone directly to Tianji Tower's strategic teleportation array. However, Yilingxie was Night Moon's subordinate. If they took the strategic teleportation array directly, it would be disrespectful to Tianji Tower. Night Sorrow didn't want to do that. After exiting the teleportation array of the Taiching Domain's mansion, Night Sorrow's group arrived at the teleportation array of the Taiching Domain. Upon seeing Night Sorrow, Yang Lei, and Sikong Chuyu's masks, the guards of Taiching City let them in without asking any questions. After arriving at the Qingtian Domain, Night Sorrow hesitated for a moment before telling Sikong Chuyu about the situation. They had to bring Father Gu with them for the engagement ceremony. They would start in the Medicine Valley. I'm fine. Don't think so little of me, Sikong Chuyu said with a smile. That's good. I hope you can call me Auntie Fei too, Night Sorrow said. Yes, of course. Yang Lei nodded. Then, the group continued to teleport. Night Sorrow originally thought that they would have to fly to pass through the blank areas without teleportation arrays. To his surprise, because of the development of the Eastern Xian region's base, Tianji Tower had set up some public teleportation arrays that could directly teleport them to the Realm Sea. The number of teleportation arrays in the Taiyue domain had also increased. The blank areas had also been filled. In other words, they could teleport directly without the need for a strategic teleportation array. Night Sorrow was very satisfied with this situation. Recently, he had been using the strategic teleportation array, so he didn't know about the changes in the situation outside. After arriving at Dongxian City, they took off their masks. We'll rest at the mansion tonight. We'll return to Danding City tomorrow. Looking at the sky, Night Sorrow announced his decision. He wanted to invite Wu Lingfei to his engagement ceremony. Chapter 654. Genius 1 second. Remember love go/little. We provide you with wonderful novels to read. They sat down in the backyard. Night Sorrow hadn't gone to see Wu Lingfei yet. Wu Lingfei appeared because she sensed an expert coming. Evil King Ling. Wu Lingfei was startled to see Yilingxie. Golden Phoenix. You've entered the Sage Realm. I should call you Lord Golden Phoenix. Yilingxie cupped his hands at Wu Lingfei. He hadn't seen her face before, but he could recognize her from her aura. We were friends back then, and we're still friends today. You called me Mistress Wu Kei back then, and you can still call me that now. Wu Lingfei found a seat and sat down. Good. Mistress Wu Kei entering the sage realm is truly worthy of celebration. Yiling Xia also sat down. Since evil King Ling is fine, why haven't you come to see me for so many years? Wu Lingfei asked. Back then, it was the sage of the Tianfeng dynasty, Qin Yuan, who took action. What's the point of me coming to see you? Dragging others down with me won't change the situation, so there's no point. Yiling Xie sighed. As long as you're alive, there's a chance. Now that you've appeared, Night Moon shouldn't be too far away. It's just that without a sage, it's a bit troublesome, said Wu Lingfei. Linghuan, Brother Wang set up a seal. It's a seal that the Yi clan sealed. No sage can come out, so we'll have to wait. Yiling Xie sighed. A while ago, I heard an expert talk about Night Moon. I knew your strength was still there, but no sage didn't want to come out. I didn't expect it to be a seal, said Wu Lingfei. Someone else knows about Night Moon. That shouldn't be. I'm the only one who can contact the Yi clan now. Yiling Xie was shocked. This meant that Night Moon wasn't safe. She's a high-level saint. She's friends with the Moon Monarch, so she won't be a threat to the Night clan. If it was before, I would definitely go out and fight you. But now, it's not appropriate for saints to participate in a realm war. However, if Night Moon needs help, the Eastern Xian region can still send some people. Wu Lingfei directly expressed her willingness to help. High-level cultivators all had their dignity. She didn't want to wait for Yiling Xie to speak. That would damage his dignity. Friends didn't need to do that. Thank you. For the time being, we will not counterattack. We will wait for Brother Linghuan to take that step. If there is a need, I will ask. Love go little say W Chu Yiling Xie voiced his thoughts. That's fine. You can ask whenever you need. Night Sorrow, you seem to be in a good state. The knot in your heart should have been untied, Wu Lingfei said to Night Sorrow. I'm fine now. I want to hold an engagement ceremony. I've invited my 6th uncle. Also, Auntie Fei is my relative. Of course I have to invite Auntie Fei. I don't know if it's convenient for Auntie Fei, Night Sorrow said. Even if it's inconvenient, you still have to go. Who asked you to be Auntie Fei's only relative? After saying this, Wu Lingfei looked at Yiling Xie. She realized that she might be at a disadvantage in terms of seniority. These are two different things. A personal relationship is a personal relationship. It doesn't involve anything. Noticing Wu Lingfei's gaze, Yiling Xie naturally understood what it meant. It's good that you understand. When are we going? Wu Lingfei glanced at Yiling Xie, then turned to Night Sorrow and asked. Tomorrow, we'll go to the Medicine Valley. Then, we'll go to the Qingtian region's Jiyu family. Love go little say Night Sorrow said. No problem. Then we'll go to the Medicine Valley tomorrow. Also, King Ling Xie, let's not talk about our friendship. When the Tianjin Tower established the first base in the Taiqing region, the Night Moon dynasty did their best to help. This is a favor that the Tianjin Tower owes the Night Moon dynasty. When we go to the Jiyu family, we can also go to the Tianjin Tower's headquarters and discuss with the Chief K-Master and the others to see if they can help you, Wu Lingfei said. In the end, Yiling Xie said that he wanted to preserve the current situation and not be attacked before the Yi clan's people returned. Then, Night Sorrow arranged for everyone to rest. He knew that the situation would get better and better. After a night's rest, Yi Shang led the group to Danding City. Then, Yi Shang went to pick up Papa Gu and told him his idea. Papa Gu was 100% in favor of Night Sorrow's engagement ceremony. This was the scene he wanted to see the most. Yang Lei went to the Golden Flame Palace but did not see Yu Yangyu. After Yu Yangyu's cultivation level increased rapidly, he did not often cultivate in the Golden Flame Palace. Original. First $FAJ in the Danding Palace, Night Sorrow saw Yu Yangyu. Then, Hua Yunping appeared. Wu Lingfei's and Yi Lingxia's auras were too strong. He had no choice but to know. The Great Elder was in seclusion and did not appear. After Night Sorrow introduced them, Yu Yangyu and Hua Yunping, who knew Wu Lingfei's and Yi Lingxia's identities, bowed and greeted them. Wu Lingfei was the city lord of Dongxian City, so the Medicine Valley had to respect her. Yi Lingxia was a peak supremacy, so Yu Yangyu and Hua Yunping also had to respect him. After learning about Night Sorrow's idea, Hua Yunping did some calculations and found out that tomorrow was an auspicious day. The engagement ceremony was set to be held tomorrow at Taishan Peak. After that, Yi Shang led the group to the bamboo forest peak to rest. Yi Shang didn't mention Tai Chuan to Wu Lingfei. He didn't want to cause trouble for her. Once he entered the Venerate realm, he could go and investigate by himself. Yi Lingxia and Papa Gu chatted. He did not look down on Papa Gu, who was at the third level of the core formation realm. Instead, he was very respectful and grateful to Papa Gu for raising Night Sorrow. After resting for a night, the group arrived at Taishan Palace. Many people had come to Taishan Palace today. It was almost a sea of people. Almost all the elite disciples of the Medicine Valley had come. The engagement of the Vice Valley Master and the Elder was a big deal. After entering the palace, everyone chatted casually as they waited for the auspicious time. After all, they were all particular about auspiciousness. Night Sorrow was surrounded by his senior and junior brothers. A group of people congratulated him and asked him many questions. Night Sorrow replied with a chuckle. He was really happy. Actually, Night Sorrow was not the only one who was happy. Yu Yangyu and his disciples were also very happy. They all hoped that Night Sorrow would be happy. When a gong sounded from the direction of Danding Peak, Yi Lingxia straightened his robes and stood up. He cupped his fists at Yu Yangyu. First of all, I am very grateful to the Medicine Valley for raising Night Sorrow, a member of the Yi clan. Night Moon will never forget this. In addition, as Night Sorrow's elder, I would like to ask the Valley Master to let the two disciples of the Night Moon take care of Night Sorrow. 2. Why 2? Yu Yangyu was stunned. Yu Yangyu was not the only one who was stunned. The others were also stunned. This was because everyone knew that Night Sorrow and Yang Lei were engaged. Chapter 655. Genius 1 second. Remember, love divided by go divided by little. We will provide you with wonderful novels to read. Yu Yangyu looked at Night Sorrow and Aoi. He had never thought about this, but looking at it now, the truth was similar to what Yi Lingxia had said. After a moment of awkward silence, Yu Yangyu looked at Night Sorrow. 13. What do you think? Yu Yangyu's words pushed Night Sorrow to the front. Night Sorrow didn't know how to answer. No, that would hurt Aoi's face. Okay. What was that? This was a little unreliable, mainly because Yi Lingxia didn't follow the rules. No one would have thought of this. Aoi, what do you think? Seeing that Night Sorrow didn't answer, Yu Yangyu looked at Aoi. At this moment, Qing Ji's face was red. She was the same as Yi Shang. She didn't want to say no because that would hurt Yi Shang's dignity. Similarly, saying yes was also inappropriate. Valley Master, look. They're both embarrassed. At the very least, they don't hate each other. Isn't the best way for a man and woman to treat each other with respect? Yi Lingxia said. The way he did things was a little evil. It was very appropriate for the word evil in his name. Valley Master, I think it's okay too, Hua Yunping said with a smile. 13. Then Master will leave your 9th and 6th senior sisters to you. Your 6th senior sister has a gentle personality. You can't let her be wronged. Love go little say Wang Tu Yu Yang Yu thought for a moment and felt that this was a good thing. Aoi also needed someone to take care of her. She was particular about being outstanding and responsible. Night Sorrow had nothing to say. You're still not speaking. Gong Xian, who wasn't far from Night Sorrow, pushed Night Sorrow. Disciple won't disappoint Master. Night Sorrow was being forced to do something beyond his ability. He could only bow in return. Come, welcome gift. This is the identity medallion of my clan's young master's wife. This seat carved it overnight. In addition, this is a teleportation bracelet. This is a meeting gift for this seat and Father Gu. You can each have one. Yilingxia took out 2 blood thread jade pendants and 2 silver bracelets. Following which, Yu Yang Yu took out a piece of ore. This is the star cloud iron. 13. Take this and find a blacksmith. He can upgrade your weapon. Thank you, Master. Night Sorrow bowed and took it. Alright, you guys are now engaged. Auntie Fei will give each of you a weapon. Wu Lingfei took out 2 spirit-grade swords and gave them to Yang Lei and Aoi. Originally, Wu Lingfei had prepared 2 weapons for Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu. But now that Yilingxia had messed around, she could only take them out. I'm drunk. You're marrying one and giving one away. 13. The treasures of Taishan Peak have all been brought home by you. Shi Tianlin knocked on Night Sorrow's shoulder. How can you say that? How can you say that? Give one away. 6th senior sister is a treasure. How can you give her away? Yang Lei glared at Shi Tianlin. Shi Tianlin rubbed his nose and didn't say anything. Following which, a large banquet was set up in front of the plaza. Everyone drank and chatted happily. Night Sorrow, Aoi, Yang Lei, Sikong Chuyu, and Wu Lingfei sat at the same table. 6th senior sister, don't think too much. I'm your 13th junior brother. I'll take care of you no matter what. 6th senior sister, if you have someone you like, just tell me. I'll tell Master, Night Sorrow said. Do you know how to talk? You idiot. I'll deal with you later. Yang Lei glared at Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow also didn't know what to say. Yilingxia had been too reckless today. He wasn't mentally prepared. Aoi blushed and didn't say anything. W. Update, fastest on DG Yilingxia, Yu Yang Yu, Hua Yunping, and Papa Gu were drinking. Love go little say net kue a moment later, Yilingxia came over. Night Sorrow, did Granduncle do well? Very well. Night Sorrow said with a smirk. Then, Night Sorrow and Sikong Chuyu sent Papa Gu, who was a little drunk, to rest. Yilingxia and Wu Lingfei also left. Yang Lei and Aoi served the guests. Night Sorrow, I've embarrassed you today. I didn't prepare a greeting gift for you, Papa Gu said. Father, you raised me. That's the greatest gift, Night Sorrow said. After comforting Papa Gu and seeing him rest, Night Sorrow came out of the bamboo house. Sikong Chuyu brewed tea and accompanied Wu Lingfei and Yilingxia. Chuyu, 6th granduncle was reckless. You've been wronged, Wu Lingfei said to Yilingxia. I'm really sorry about this. I only spoke because I thought they were suitable. Don't worry. If Night Sorrow dares to bully you, I'll take care of him even if it means offending my superiors. Yilingxia said somewhat embarrassedly. He was helpless. He just wanted to see Night Sorrow's side flourish. Night Moon's dynasty needed people to flourish. It's nothing. Actually, I like sixth senior sister. She has a good personality and knows how to take care of ninth sorrow better than ninth senior sister and I, Sikong Chiyu said. You're thinking too much. I just said that I'm taking care of sixth senior sister. Once she has someone she likes, this matter will be over, ninth sorrow said with a smile. Yishang, ninth senior sister called you an idiot just now, and you still haven't realized it. Do you think sixth senior sister is a casual person? Would she break off the engagement? Just treat sixth senior sister well in the future, Sikong Chiyu said. Some people have a gentle personality, but they have some persistence in certain aspects. Chiyu is right about this. She has a gentle personality and needs others to care for her. You have to take good care of her. Women don't have it easy, Wu Lingfei said. In the evening, Yang Lei and Aoi came back. Many guests were received by them. It was reasonable for them to receive guests from their maiden family. Knight Sorrow received guests from his side. It was the same for most engagement ceremonies. Yang Lei and Sikong Chiyu smiled and went to rest, leaving behind Knight Sorrow and Aoi. 13th junior brother, why are you looking at me like that? It's been hard on you today. There was a touch of blush on Qing Ji's face. She had never thought that she would be involved in the engagement ceremony today. Sixth senior sister, don't say that. It's my granduncle who messed around and made you embarrassed, Knight Sorrow said. It's okay. Don't think too much, Aoi looked at Knight Sorrow and said. I've always respected sixth senior sister. I won't let sixth senior sister suffer any grievances in the future, Knight Sorrow said seriously. I know 13th junior brother loves senior sister. It's okay today. You're tired. Go and rest, Aoi said to Knight Sorrow with a smile. She had mixed feelings at the moment. She couldn't refuse today, but she wouldn't take it as a joke. It was impossible for her to fall in love with someone else like Knight Sorrow said. So after coming back, Aoi had been paying attention to Knight Sorrow's words and actions. This would determine her happiness. Seeing Knight Sorrow's attitude and promise, Aoi knew that her happiness was not a problem. Chapter 656. Genius 1 second. Remember love go/little. We provide you with wonderful novels to read. After returning to the main building, Yishang thought for a moment and still felt uneasy. He was worried that this matter would conflict with Qing Ji, so he returned to the courtyard. Why are you here again? Are you worried about senior sister? It seems that sixth senior sister was right not to refuse, because 13th junior brother is a man with a sense of responsibility. Seeing Yishang return, Qing Ji's heart felt a lot better, because it was true that Yishang was worried about her. After chatting with Aoi for a while and sending Aoi to the pavilion to rest, Knight Sorrow went to cultivate. After cultivating for a whole night, when Knight Sorrow woke up to cultivate his spear art, everyone else woke up one after another. Aoi also brought a basin of water. Senior sister, don't be like this. Knight Sorrow was a little embarrassed. That's right. He just got engaged yesterday and he's already getting water to wash his face. Senior sister, you're spoiling him too much, Yang Lei said with a smile. No. 13, tell me, did senior sister get water for you to wash your face the last time you came back? Aoi was a little embarrassed and looked directly at Knight Sorrow. Yes, it's true. Senior sister got water for me to wash my face the last time I came back to set up the teleportation formation. Knight Sorrow said. Even if it wasn't true, he would still say it was true because he wanted to protect Aoi's dignity and face. It seems that we have to work hard too. Otherwise, senior sister will be the most favored, Yang Lei said with a smile. Yes, a gentle and considerate woman like senior sister is the most fatal to a man, Sikong Chuyu said with a smile. You two are also bad. You even know how to bully sixth senior sister, Aoi said. She knew that this was not a real bully, but an acceptance. After packing up, Knight Sorrow expressed his intention to leave because he still had to go to the Sikong family in the Qingtian region to hold the engagement ceremony. Also, he couldn't leave the Night Moon dynasty all the time. No one objected to Knight Sorrow's suggestion. Soon after, the group arrived at the Taishian Grand Hall. After bidding farewell to Yu Yangyu and the others, they took the teleportation circle and teleported to Bailing City. Under the guidance of Sikong Chuyu, the group arrived at the Heavenly Cauldron residence in the Sikong residence. Both sides introduced themselves and Yilingxia explained the purpose of his visit. That's good. I've always been anxious about this matter. Everyone, stay here first. I'll inform the family and choose the nearest auspicious day to settle this matter. Sikong Tianding said with a smile. He didn't mind Knight Sorrow having another woman. Sikong Luyun also came over to greet Wu Lingfei and Yilingxia. He knew both of them and they were considered seniors. The date was set for 2 days later. Knight Sorrow, Yang Lei, Aoi, and Papa Gu stayed here. Wu Lingfei and Yilingxia left and went to the Tianji Tower headquarters. If the Night Moon dynasty wanted to rise again, they would also need the help of Tianji Tower. In addition, Yilingxia and Sikong Luyun had also talked. The Sikong family was also willing to help the Night Moon dynasty. In fact, this was considered a risky investment because once the Night Moon dynasty rose again, it would be a colossus that the Sikong family couldn't compare to. If the Sikong family won the bet, it would be an opportunity for the Sikong family to develop. Knight Sorrow didn't ask about these things because Yilingxia would tell him when he returned. The following engagement ceremony was also completed smoothly. All this time, Knight Sorrow and Sikong Chuyu only lacked a wedding ceremony. Their relationship was recognized by everyone. After the engagement ceremony was completed, Sikong Tianding wanted everyone to stay for a while, but because everyone had something to do, he could only give up. Knight Sorrow and the others also returned to Sky City. Wu Lingfei also followed. Love go little say ku, Knight Sorrow, your place is really good. How about this? Leave a loft for Aunt Fei. In the future, Aunt Fei will also come and stay here. After arriving at Sky City, Wu Lingfei looked around and said. Of course, no problem. Aunt Fei, don't worry, Knight Sorrow said. Then, Knight Sorrow arranged for Wu Lingfei to stay. Knight Sorrow and Yilingxia chatted alone for a while. Tianji Tower was willing to help the Night Moon dynasty rebuild. They even sent the Shadow Palace warriors who had never participated in battles before into the Night Moon area. In other words, without the participation of invincible venerables and saints, it was impossible for anyone to break in. This made Knight Sorrow feel more at ease. After all, saints wouldn't participate in such a battle easily. There were only a few invincible venerables, and they wouldn't fight easily either. Sixth uncle, does this mean that Night Moon is safe for now? Knight Sorrow said. Look at the S version I chapter 0t on H, yes, with the help of Tianji Tower and the Yun dynasty, there are no problems at the moment. We'll stall for time. While building the Night Moon, we'll wait for the family to come out of the Night Moon Sea, Yilingxia said. Then I feel more at ease. Knight Sorrow breathed a sigh of relief in his heart. You still have to leave more descendants for Night Moon. That's the key, Yilingxia said. Parents' achievements will affect their children's achievements, right? That's why I won't have children for now. Let's wait and see. Knight Sorrow spoke his thoughts. Sigh. You're right. Sixth uncle is really conflicted, Yilingxia said with a sigh. After resting for a night, Yilingxia went to work again. He had a lot of things to do now. He needed to communicate with all parties and preside over the Night Moon situation. Night Sorrow called Wu Lingfei to his wooden boat to chat on the lake. Watching you grow up step by step, Aunt Fei feels very emotional, Wu Lingfei said as she looked at Night Sorrow. It's the first time I've seen Aunt Fei feel emotional, Night Sorrow said with a smile. Your appearance has affected the structure of the 9 regions world. Evil King Ling told Aunt Fei that the resources you provided ensured the return of Night Moon. In other words, the rise of Night Moon was influenced by you. The rise of Night Moon will definitely cause a reshuffling of the 9 regions world. It has far-reaching implications, Wu Lingfei said. If my grandfather enters the Saint Realm, will he be a match for the Tianfeng dynasty saint? Night Sorrow asked worriedly. Tianfeng Saint Qin Yuan is a 5-star saint. Even if he faces Aunt Fei, he won't necessarily win. Cultivation doesn't represent combat power. The undefeated King Yilinghuan is a classic example of the weak defeating the strong. As long as he enters the Saint Realm, it will be difficult for Tianfeng Saint Qin Yuan to win. This is the advantage of attributes, Wu Lingfei said. That's good. Night Sorrow breathed a sigh of relief. Actually, Auntie Fei has asked Grand Elder Xia before. Among the saints, the stronger one is the Qingtian domain Saint Yin Shi. However, she's not strong enough to interfere with the Grand Clarity domain situation. Wu Lingfei analyzed the situation to Yishang. This is always an unstable factor. After all, her fists are bigger. Whatever she wants to do, we can only passively accept it, Night Sorrow said with clenched fists. You're tuning into the Journey of the Soul YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.